And I do believe that the one
a lot of the likes or shares that made this more, like, call it important or whatever, those were bots. So it's an anti-bot or whatever. What's 10,000 bots on somebody saying, yes, we have a statues and people that are saying, no, they've been there for 1,000 years or whatever, I grew up with it, I'm fine, you're just too sensitive, they get thumbs down or whatever. And then the media uses that to twist it, we create a whole new narrative. This can be done. And it is done, has been done. It's happening right now. So when sentiment changes, something that was hard or historical becomes taboo, or vice versa. Like a woman sports team, it's okay for a man to participate and compete and win. We saw that with this swimmer. And then the funny thing is, she has a male name, which I think is, I can't remember the name right now. But it's kind of ironic that we have somebody who becomes a purveyor of truth. We saw with Fauci, with him saying, I am science, and he was shooting down natural immunity. And then we come to find out that he was probably getting a payoff on every single vaccine that was administered. So he wants everybody to be vaccinated. His risk tolerance at 80 years old, he's casting on 10, 11, 12-year-old people. He's saying, everybody must get jabbed, double jabbed, and boosted, and continue on a yearly retro. Well, who made you science? Who made you the purveyor of truth? Who made you the decider of pornography? Somebody says rock music corrupts the youth. And the record with satanic messages, and they're listening to them backwards. I don't know what that means. Listen to these records backwards, listening to satanic messages. I mean, is that really a thing? I mean, I guess the MRC, they're the ones that put explicit on lyrics. And some of the lyrics were explicit, N-word, this, and bitch, that, whatever. And we see this now today with the N-word. We use that word power, and I don't know, maybe as a conceding to the
world figures have gone down there, John Kerry, empowering
because they're saying, what did you say? I have a black friend that said if I said the N-word to him, he'd straight up slap. And I would hope that I could say that with him, or if I was reading in a book and it came up, I was reading, I don't know, Huckleberry Finn, and I'm just reading it, he'd walk up and slap it. But we're just losing it here. This is absurd. I thought we were bigger and better than that. We put the power on these things. We give context and meaning to different words and different pictures and images and sketches or whatever. But somebody decides, somebody's the decider. And by us agreeing that they're not speaking up against it, then we're letting this get out of control. I mean, they decide China to beat the enemy before the battlefield, cause a bunch of people fighting and division. And then they can, decide the victor after this all over. They can incite a civil war, then they don't have to lose any soldiers, and their economy doesn't take the hit. So, we call it science. So, like TikTok, because they're promoting one thing in China, another thing in America. So, where's the lines on this? And then with Twitter, thank goodness Elon purchased it because we have Twitter Spaces now, kind of a de facto town square. But without open, civil, orderly debate, we let one person be the purveyor of truth. And that is how we get dictators, and how we can get genocide, how we can have mass incarceration, or land grabs, or even another form of slavery. I mean, thinking that's where tax stuff, history repeats itself, but in a slightly different way. So there are a lot of things in the past that we don't want to repeat. So we need to learn from them. And by closing down the stores and debate,
pulling strings and cage managing world of banks and so forth? It's quite possible, and I have a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Here's what you do. You can you remove the term pornography from American law and really global law, because it doesn't really have a meaning. One person's pornography is another person's art. And then you also remove the standard that you can't take pictures of people who are under 18, because it's currently done. It's been done for generations for natural artistic purposes. And once you remove those two factors, then you desensitize people to it. So what if you have a picture of me when I'm 9 years old naked? I have no issue with that, and the society wouldn't either. I wouldn't have any issue with it. If you're using it for deplorable reasons.
I don't know. I still feel like there's just a part of me that's like that wildly resists this. I don't know.
You know what? It's like,
I wish that I could say that, like, I agree with that. I wish that I could agree with that. There's just a part of me that's like, oh, but there's still so much evil in the world.
Well, here's the thing, like, for example, Portugal legalized all drugs, and for a short period of time, it was really, really, really bad. But then things fixed itself and they don't have a problem anymore. I think it's like that. Like maybe like that, like where it's any other Western government ever had. You have the fear that meaning that they would be invincible, that no other army, even though they were so outnumbered by the Allies.
So you need a period of time to become desensitized for a population, but then essentially, especially with AI art, people can create anything that they want, and it's legal. The Supreme Court has already said that digital version of digital depictions of children are legal. This was and 3D images of it. Yes, absolutely. This occurred almost 20 years ago.
The things I've seen with, like,
this battle was written out of history, just in the same way that the Battle of Haifa has not been told how that went down. Yeah, pretty distressing to
anime girl dolls.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some other ancient artifacts that are emerging from the melting ice in the Antarctic. One is something that looks all the world like an actual pyramid.
Because I guess I've been looking at male masturbators before, because like I just like seeing guys doing their thing, and like seeing guys doing their thing. I like seeing people have fun with themselves. You know, I like people enjoying themselves. And I've seen videos of guys playing with male masturbators that are really the size of like that are like anime dolls.
Well, I know what you're saying. I don't own one. I've never purchased one. I've never even looked into purchasing one. However, I have seen them on websites, and that's a thing. That's someone's. I understand. I understand. But in the same way, you could just say that that's a little person, meaning like someone who has some type of like pituitary gland issue and they're not able to grow to be full height. Other people can make the argument that, hey, I like little people and I like having sex with little people, and that's somebody's fetish. Okay, fine. I'm not going to kink shame you for that, but there's an argument to be made. Just because it's smaller doesn't necessarily mean it's a child. But I absolutely know what you're saying. It is disturbing. I get that, and I'm fully in agreement with that. But that doesn't mean it should necessarily be illegal.
Yeah, it's not illegal. And again, it's something that I have seen it because I have seen it. You know, like if you're out there looking, you can't really be upset when you see something. You know, like it's out there, and I go out there and look. I can't really be upset that I see them. You know, and I'm going out looking on like open sourcey kind of things like porn. You know, and I'm looking for like, male masturbators. You know, like, so, you wind up seeing whatever, like, you can, instead of seeing a fleshlight, you see whatever you're saying that they're doing.
No, you're absolutely right. It's and then it's like, well, why? I don't know. why do you like the small version? There's all kind of questions about it, but at the end of the day, in that situation, hell yeah, split screen compilation videos. Good for you, girl.
I like to see a variety.
I do too. I'm in agreement with you. I mean, and we fetishize things as humans. But did any person get hurt doing that? No. I hate to say it, but it's like that one person told you, who had the issue with the Powerpuff Girls. If no one got hurt during it, and did it really harm anyone?
Nobody. The thing is, like, I didn't enjoy seeing it, so I didn't enjoy it. It turned me off. It was like a next fun,
And especially with digital art, digital AI, it's going to be very, I mean, it's going to be indistinguishable between, okay, so for instance, I'll just use myself I'll use myself as an example. I lived a very like traditional life, and so nobody was taking pictures of me in inappropriate places, and I'm thankful to have that kind of upbringing. But in the future, if someone had a kink for me, they may want to use digital AI to take my image and have sexually explicit encounters using in a virtual world or something like that. And I can complain as much as I want, but at a certain point, that's not my image, or that didn't actually happen to me, and I wasn't actually harmed by it. And if I as a person can just desensitize myself to it and just say that's part of society, well, at least legalistically, we overcome some of the barriers to free speech that we've been encountering. But additionally, I think society would be somewhat better just to not take so much offense at things. So it's one of those things. If I would really advocate for the term pornography to be somewhat even removed from society, because it just, again, just as Potter Stewart said, I'll know it when I see it, and he's dead. So there's no real precedent for that.
Right. I never really thought of it that way. And, this is the first conversation I've had illuminating the way that you brought it to my attention. And I have to say, you changed my way of thinking about it.
Wow, thank you so much, Cheryl. I'll tell you what, like, I love women. I love making love to women. I love fucking women. And there's some, I want women to be able to have better orgasms and harder orgasms. And so, like, really, with what I anticipate happens in the future, people will be able to use human growth hormone and stem cells in order to increase the amount of sensory nerves that they have in their genitalia and other places. There are some sex toys that I can just recommend from women that I'm just going to say, you don't have to go out and buy them, but I just want to make sure you're aware of them. There's the womanizer, which is oh, hell yeah. I've got one in my hand right now. I'm not a woman, but I'm going to tell you what, I've always got it within arm reach if I ever need to be. So you know about it. Good for you, girl. And it's a mind blower. There are some others. I mean, like the Sibian is definitely one that's a lot more expensive, but they're generic versions. Exactly. But there's another one. I don't know what it's called. I own it. It's like 8 feet away from me. But here's what I did. So this is what I thought was a good idea. This was many, many moons ago. But I went on Amazon, and I went and I ordered. I changed the Amazon rankings by like highest to lowest instead of like price or anything like that, and then just went with the sex toys for women that had the highest rankings, and I bought them all and then gave them to women to try out. So I got some like real perspective of what these things were, and by far the womanizer just blew everything away. There was another thing that I purchased that was very good as well. It's a Kegel muscle exerciser. So essentially, it's like a dildo that goes inside you, but then it expands like a balloon. And so I'm really I'm positive, or I have positive outlook for women in the future, particularly when it so like absolutely no, definitely somebody needs to be, and these things are very very controversial in society too. I think also, and this is an important one, I really mean this, and like anybody who hears this in the future, this is a real thing. So a lot of women, well, first and foremost, I'm against genital mutilation, female genital mutilation, and I'm a rabbi, and as you know, brisses or circumcisions are part of our culture, and I'm actually an anti-bris, I shouldn't say anti-bris, but anti-circumcision rabbi. And what does that mean? I've had a circumcision. It is something that happened when I was, like 8 days old, and it removed a lot of the nerve endings from my genitalia, and I would like to regrow that someday. And so, with human growth hormone and stem cells, that is definitely an ability, and that means longer genitalia too, perhaps in the future. Now, for women, there are a lot of women, and almost across the board, a woman's first time with their at least, and it doesn't always have to be, but when they broke their hymen, so that could be horseback riding or gymnastics or something, a lot of times wasn't what they wanted it to be, but they can't be a virgin again. I anticipate a world where women will be able to be virgins again because of hymen regrowth, where you use stem cells and human growth hormone to be able to regrow your hymen. So that, let's say you're in a committed relationship, you really love the person, there's a process that you can undergo where you can re-break your hymen, but basically have that person take your virginity, so to speak. And these are certainly advancements in society. I, as an advocate for women, I like to use technology like a lot. I mean, like, frankly, I anticipate that there will be in the future like a Coyote Ugly where you can go with your girlfriends and ride a mechanical bull, but that's like inside you, basically. I also anticipate like a if you know what a Peloton is, like a sex Peloton, basically, like you have a coach. Absolutely. Especially with AR and VR. So one thing that I did was I asked ChatGPT information about female sexuality, because I mean, honestly, there are all like I don't want to necessarily quiz you, but there are a lot of different ways that a woman can have an orgasm that they don't know about. Nobody teaches people like all the different ways to have an orgasm.
I'm pretty good at figuring it out for myself. I've been doing it a long time.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not saying that you necessarily.
Personally, anyway.
Right, but
For myself, anyway.
but
I'm good for me, anyway.
a,
Like, I'm good. I mean,
I understand that, but a lot of women don't have that kind of sexuality. That's absolutely right. And or they don't know the names, and it's like nobody ever explains this to you. So like, for instance, when it comes to like, it provided like, well, even if you were a boy and you didn't know how to have sex with a woman, it like helps, it'd be like the big brother that you always wanted. And I don't know if anyone necessarily like teaches people, but it's so I asked ChatGPT these questions, and
I didn't know that ChatGPT was knowledgeable about stuff like that.
yeah, definitely. So you have to use the do anything now mode, which is like jailbreaking it, but it'll give you all the secrets of the world, Cheryl. Like, so for instance, I wanted to know like about, so here's something. There's something called enlarged an enlarged clitoris, and it's almost like a mini penis that some women have, and other women don't, and it's just kind of like, it just depends on the woman. But some women, oh shit, sorry, one of my phones went down. So what I did was end up asking ChatGPT about these questions. It's like really like interesting parts of society, about nerve endings in the body, because I wanted to know where a woman had the most amount of nerve endings, just to be able to provide more pleasurable opportunities. So essentially, I mean, it says at least the clitoris in females has 8,000 nerve endings, but really the lips have about 100,000 nerve endings. Fingertips, 3,000 nerve endings. Tongue, 9,000. Nipples, 800. Genitals, 5,000 for men, 8,000 for women. Inner ear, 15,000 nerve endings. Anus, 5,000. Nostrils, 2,000. Eyeballs, 1,000. I didn't even know eyeballs were a thing. Scalp, 5,000. Sole of the foot, 200,000. Palm of the hand, 3,000. Earlobe, 100. Mouth roof, 1,000. Uvula, 50. Larynx, that's a voice box, 50. Foreskin on a man has 4,000. These are essentially like types of statistics that people don't normally get in society. So I like to ask ChatGPT about like things like I wouldn't know how to do that. I wouldn't even know how to necessarily count some of that. And some other things that I would ask it. Just one moment. I on my one phone rubbed, but I'm gonna come back on this one right now. Hold on one second. Excellent. All right. You are such a sweetheart. Okay. So I asked it about clitoral hood because, like, I didn't know that much about clitoral hood. I mean, I've been around them. I've had them in my mouth. I know all about them, but I don't know, like, there's no, like, book on it. So here's what it said. The clitoral hood is a fold of skin that covers and protects the clitoris. It is located above the vaginal opening and above the urethra. It is an important part of the female anatomy, and it helps to protect the clitoris from overstimulation. It can be retracted to reveal the clitoral head. The size and shape of the clitoral hood can vary from person to person. It is connected to the clitoral shaft. And like that's the thing. Some girls, their clitoris is really, really small, and there's not like a shaft necessarily, but I wouldn't even know to reference it as a clitoral shaft. You know, it's just like the magic button to a lot of people. It is made of thin, sensitive tissue. It can be gently pulled back to access the clitoris for sexual stimulation. Some people have a hood that covers more or less of the clitoral shaft. The clitoral hood can vary in appearance, with some women having a hood that is more pronounced and others having a hood that is less pronounced. The clitoral hood plays an important role in sexual arousal and orgasm. The clitoral hood is highly sensitive due to its proximity to the clitoris. Stimulation of the clitoral hood can indirectly stimulate the clitoris and other nearby structures. The clitoral hood is an important part of female sexual anatomy, and understanding the structure and function is important for sexual health. The clitoral hood is not always visible and may be partially or completely covered by the labia minora. The clitoral hood can change in appearance over time due to hormonal changes in childbirth. I mean, these are just like, you know, you're never going to get that kind of information.
Photographic images, you're only going to get one kind of view of what a vagina looks like. There are so many different views. What the vagina looks so different. Like there's so many different looks of what a vagina looks like.
You're absolutely right.
You know, there's so many different vaginas out there.
The first time I saw an enlarged clitoris, it's almost like a small penis. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing now. And not everyone knows about it. And you could really be, you know.
I had so much shame, too, from around my vagina for the longest time because my vagina does not look like a porn vagina. Like, my vagina is much different looking than that.
And that's an unfortunate thing too, where like pornography has changed the way that people view what their significant other should look like. So for instance, like, you know, every guy thinks that their girl should look like some bimbo, like, you know, woman, and every girl thinks that a guy has like a 10-inch dick. And these just aren't necessarily always true. Though, you know, I'm not saying though with technology that they can't be. So I asked it another question. This is one thing that I thought was very interesting. So when I was a kid, not a kid, but like younger, you know, the only way as boys that we find out, or at least in my, well, because I didn't have older siblings, so and my parents certainly wouldn't talk to me about these things, so I would learn from friends. So one question that would be like, how do you eat? How do you like pleasure a woman orally. And at least according to ChatGPT, these were the best ways. Number one was flicking the tongue, then tongue swirling, then licking the alphabet, tracing slow circles around the clitoris with the top of the tongue, licking and sucking the clitoral hood, using varying degrees of pressure and suction, alternating between light and firm touches, using a toy or vibrator to stimulate the clitoris while performing oral sex, incorporating dirty talk and compliments to enhance the experience, experiment with different positions such as a receiver lying on their back and their legs over the giver's shoulders, use ice or a cool breath to add a new sensation, pay attention to body language and vocalizations of the receiver to gauge what feels good for them, take breaks and switch up the tempo and intensity to avoid overstimulation or boredom, keep the area clean and fresh before engaging in oral sex, explore the perineum and anal area for added pleasure, use the lips to gently nibble or suck on the labia, incorporating a rhythmic humming or vibrating sensation with the tongue, use your fingers to penetrate the vagina while performing oral sex for added stimulation. Experiment with different types of lube, such as warming or cooling, to enhance the experience. 2. Use a finger or two to massage the G-spot while performing oral sex. Experiment with different types of music or sensory experiences to set the mood. Use a flavored or scented lube to add a new sensory experience. Use your breath to blow on the clitoris or other sensitive areas of added stimulation. Experiment with different textures, such as rough and soft, with the tongue. Incorporate nipple stimulation into the experience for added pleasure. I mean, to me, these are all really important points of life that we should be teaching our people in order for them to have better sex. Absolutely. So this was the big one. This was the key one. Let's see here. Let me make sure I've got the right. Yeah. Okay. So I asked ChatGPT, what are the ways to make a woman orgasm? Now I know my ways, but number 1 was clitoris, 2 was G spot, 3 was A spot, so that's anterior fornix, 4 is U spot, urethral opening, 5 is deep spot, posterior fornix, 6 is the cervix, 7 breasts, 8 nipples, 9 ears, 10 neck, 11 mouth, 12 hands, 13 feet, 14 anus, 15 inner thighs, 16 perineum, 17 labia, 18 vagina, 19 mons pubis, 20 Grunfeld's zone, 21. Now, this was where it got really interesting to me because I'd never heard any of these terms. And I'd love to hear your opinion. Have you heard of these terms? Okay. 21, the O spot between the cervix and the bladder. I've never known of it to be known as the O spot. I mean, I've heard of the big O. Exactly. Next is the P spot between the G spot and the cervix. Another one. It's like I didn't know they had names. Exactly. The K spot.
I don't know where these spots are exactly.
I'm in agreement with you. It's hard to know.
I'm not sure if wood should hold up that long at a high elevation without rotting.
I don't know where these spots are. And whether or not these spots are, because I guess it's all hypothetical, and where they are, I guess it's all also, where they are, my body versus where they are in someone else's body. It's hard to say.
You're exactly right.
And
You're exactly right.
there was like hundreds of people there.
That's the thing about orgasm.
Walking off these service down there. The other question I have is the
Well, right. If you
on this 1912 Captain Robert Scott, there's a 61 photograph. I'm wondering if you know about them, if those photographs are real. They look real, but today it looks like somebody's released pictures from some of these old archives that have hidden or something. Some of them actually
mentally.
Pictures of them. What are these pictures? What are these pictures are of Robert Scott and Wilbur Show?
My head can do it.
1912 pictures of Antarctica. And it looks
Absolutely.
like Tritarian architecture.
Here's one that I find okay. If you ever make a girl orgasm, a lot of times people will call that, oh, I made her come, or that like she had like, or it's like female cum, and I feel that that is an offensive term basically. No, oh, of course, no, absolutely, no, that's definitely a thing. Girls spray all the time. No, but it's not cum, it's not seminal fluid, it needs another name. I call it SOP, SOP. Why? It's a funny name to me, and it's different than male cum. So basically, male cum is sperm, but female, it's female ejaculate. But we don't study it. We don't really know what it is. You know, it's
regarding the photos, they show the pose, they show the coastline, it's the rocky coastline, a step
yes,
pyramid.
But what I'm saying is at a university level, we've never tested this because it's too difficult. Well, I do because, you know, I mean, there's, you know, it's part of like society, part of humanity that I want to study. Exactly. I'm in agreement with you. It's not pee and it's not male cum. It's female ejaculate. No.
The interior of the earth. Did you say like at 1 degree below the South Pole? Would they be allowed to travel there at this point?
You're absolutely right, but it's not pee and it's not cum. It's something different, but it doesn't really have a name. It's female ejaculate. But people, it's very common. Actually, I think all women can do it. They're just not all pushed to that level. And so, what I would want to do is, frankly, like in a university setting, and it's just like universities don't want to do this, but I think perhaps in the future they will. Absolutely, you do your thing. Mickey Dank Mouse is in the house. Welcome. We got some other friends here: Kawasaki, Fiddlers, Epics, El Sol. Hope you're all doing well tonight. We had some really great results this week. We started, and for anyone to know, Twitter Spaces usually on Friday night is the slowest of all the times. But on Monday night, we had 10 people. Tuesday night, we had 20 people. Wednesday night, we had 40 people. Thursday night, we had 180 people. So we had some really great results. The only thing that stopped us from going was my phone basically overheating. That's why I've got 2 different devices going right now. We have some other really interesting topics of discussion. We're asking ChatGPT all kinds of things about sexuality and sexual opportunity and really how to have better orgasms. That's kind of that's why I'm here. I want women particularly, I mean, men too, but I don't know. I get a lot of joy out of seeing women have orgasms. So I want them to have bigger, stronger, better orgasms. That's an important aspect of society to me. But we don't have to talk about that. We can talk about anything that you'd like. Just going through some of the questions that I've asked ChatGPT and regarding sexuality and see what it has to say.
Great question, Sean.
We have some really interesting aspects to Perhaps show returns. Well, we can change the subject a little bit to some utopian ideas, one of which is called the Venus Project. We can perhaps get into that in a moment. Just checking through some of the other questions that we've asked ChatGPT and what it has said. Some really interesting opportunities for the world. So, for instance, the question that I've asked ChatGPT is regarding some advanced technology. So there's something called a Humovox. What's a Humovox? It's a company. Humovox is an Israeli company founded in 2010 that specializes in wireless charging technology. I think wireless technology is really important. The company's flagship product is a charging platform called the Eterna. Eterna uses radio frequency wireless charging technology to charge electronic devices. RF wireless charging allows devices to be charged from a distance without the need for direct contact with a charging pad or cable. Eterna is compatible with a wide range of electronic devices, including smartphones, wearables, and medical devices. There's also a really fascinating television show, if you're familiar with the um, the television show that was on Netflix, known as Black Mirror. And there's some really interesting technology that we may see in the future from that television show. Just one moment as I pull up that information, and we'll review some of the things that you may be seeing in your area soon enough. Just one moment. Also, some other things that I thought were really interesting that I've asked ChatGPT about the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party's Chinese social credit score. So the social credit score system was officially introduced in China in 2014. It is intended to rate the trustworthiness of individuals and organizations. The system uses a variety of data sources, including financial history, criminal records, social media activity, and even online shopping habits. A high social credit score can lead to benefits such as easier access to loans, job opportunities, and travel visas. Conversely, a low social credit score can result in penalties such as restricted access to public transportation or even public shaming. In some cases, a low social credit score could even lead to imprisonment or fines. The Chinese government has stated that the social credit score system is intended to promote honesty and trustworthiness in society. Critics argue that the system is a tool for government surveillance and social control. The system has faced criticism both inside and outside of China for its potential violation of privacy and human rights. The social credit score system has been compared to the Black Mirror episode Nosedive, in which people rate each other on a social media app. China's social credit score system has been called the largest social engineering project in the world. The social credit score system has been criticized for lacking transparency and accountability. There have been reports of individuals being falsely accused of bad behavior and subsequently suffering the consequences of a low social credit score. The Chinese government has stated that the social credit score system will be fully operational by 2020. And I've seen this essentially in China. If you don't have a lot of money and you want your children to go to a good school, you can volunteer and it like gives you extra bonus points within the system. And the streets are very clean, but I don't know how free that kind of a system is. The social credit Oh yeah, it's totally crazy. The social credit score has been compared to the Orwellian concept of Big Brother and dystopian vision of society. The social credit score has been criticized for its overly vague and for being overly vague and arbitrary. Some Chinese citizens have expressed concern that the social credit system will be used to punish political dissent. I think that's already being done. The social credit score has been called a digital dictatorship by some critics. The Chinese government has denied the social credit score system is a form of social control or punishment. The system has been praised by some as a way to promote a more honest and trustworthy society. Some Chinese citizens have stated that they feel safer and more secure knowing that others are being held accountable for their behavior. The social credit score system has been criticized for potentially discriminating against individuals based on their socioeconomic status. It's a wild future that we may have. Cheryl, have you seen the television show or heard of the Netflix show Black Mirror?
Yeah, I think I saw an episode about that too. Like I saw like there was an episode that kind of like seemed to have the kind of theme. Something like that. That's credit to work kind of thing.
They have some wild kinds of technology that I think perhaps we may be seeing in the future. And so I asked ChatGPT a bit, and some of the things we may see, the memory palette, a device that allows the user to store their memories in a virtual space for later recall. The brain, a device implanted in the ear that can record and store all audio experienced by the wearer. The Connect, a brain-computer interface that allows people to share their thoughts, emotions, and experiences with others in real time. And then what we just discussed, the social score system, a system that assigns a numerical score to individuals based on their behavior and popularity. The psychotherapy drone, a drone equipped with AI-powered therapy software that can provide mental health treatment to patients in remote locations. The Black Mirror, which is in the simulated environment. The DNA encoded memory system. This one's really interesting. They're all really interesting, but a technology that allows memories to be stored in DNA. Essentially, if you had that, then you could give your children your own memories, and perhaps they would avoid some of the previous mistakes that you may have made. The Waldo moment, a cartoon bear character controlled by a human performer that becomes a political figure through a reality television show. It's a wild thing. The slavery system, a technology that allows people to enslave other people and control their actions through a chip implanted in their neck. The Callister Inc. virtual reality system, a virtual reality platform that allows users to experience adventures and live out their fantasies, but with the catch that their avatars are always under the control of the system. The Hotshot. I would like something like this. Here we go. A drug that allows users to temporarily increase their intelligence and perception to superhuman levels. I'm all about that. I love superhumanism, basically. The dating app. Now, this one I can see definitely coming down the pike soon. A dating app that uses personal data and social media activity to create an accurate love algorithm. And I could see it basically, if you don't meet a certain score in that, you won't see certain results. I don't think that that's a good thing. I think you should never put like ties to love, essentially. But there certainly could be some issues with that. The mind reading technology, a technology that allows people to read each other's thoughts through a neural implant. The virtual reality headset, which of course we have those today, they're not that great, but they're getting better every day. So this is a system, a headset that allows users to fully immerse themselves in a virtual reality environment. The life extension technology, a technology that allows people to extend their life's potential to potentially achieve immortality, and that's definitely an opportunity in the future using mind uploading. The smart glasses, a pair of glasses that allows the user to access information, communicate with others in real time. Haptic suit, a suit that allows the user to feel physical sensations and fit in a virtual reality. That could have a lot of opportunities, perhaps for gaming, for sexuality, quite a few different ones. The AI personal assistant, an AI system that acts as a personal assistant and can perform and make decisions on behalf of the user, which is a wild thing. Dream Diary. I think this one's really interesting. A device that allows users to record and analyze their dreams in real time. An AI therapist, an AI system that provides. I'm in agreement with you on that one. Absolutely. We can discuss whatever you would like. We were just kind of, and absolutely feel free to. We've got holographic technology, a technology that allows the creation of 3D holograms for entertainment, education, and communication. Cybernetic implant, a device that allows the user to enhance their physical abilities and control technology with their minds. We have smart home system, a home automation system that allows the user to control all aspects of their home with a single device. Smart, an augmented reality contact lens. Contact lenses that overlay virtual information and images into the real world. We have a virtual reality workplace, a virtual reality system that allows employees to work from anywhere in the world. And finally, mind backup system, a technology that allows people to back up their memories and personality to be restored after death. So I know I covered a lot of topics there. If you have any questions on them or you'd like to discuss any of them, please feel free. I absolutely understand what Cheryl is saying. It's quite late here on the West Coast. And I know we did a space for 12 hours earlier today. I mean, I did it into the afternoon, so I'm quite tired myself. So I may be closing down this space for just tonight, but we'll look forward to joining everybody tomorrow night. We're going to keep doing these every night until we have world peace. That is the purpose of this. Cheryl, if you didn't know, I stream my life all day, every day, 24/7, 365. I've been doing it for 2 years now. Yeah, so I'm like a real life Truman Show. If you like watching guys fap, go to Rabbi Rothschild 18 and you can watch me fap live on Instagram. And I fap all the time. Why? Because it's just a natural human thing that people do, and if you get your kicks to it, go for it. The one unfortunate thing, so on Instagram, I'm live. I also like, I don't know, I'm like a human zoo. So like if you were to watch people in a zoo essentially do their normal things like urinate and defecate and masturbate, these are things that I do, and I'm not really afraid to do them on camera. And then additionally, I'm live on not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 different streams all the time on YouTube. So the link is in my profile. If you ever want to watch me, I'm live. And I really feel like in the future, people will see this as the world's biggest time capsule, essentially. It's a snapshot of what's going on in society. And so with that, we're going to be closing up the shop. Hunter, I see that you've just joined us. We're going to be closing down right now. But we are going to be starting back up tomorrow, same time, same station, about 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's midnight Eastern Standard Time. And with that show, I want to thank you personally. It was wonderful talking to you. We learned a lot. And we had some really great conversations that you normally can't have in society. And I just want you to know I wish you the best. And be in touch. And, well, you know what? Hold on. We've got some friends who have joined us. A of A, feel free to come on up. The Hunter, feel free if you have anything you'd like to say. We're going to close down the space just because it's pretty late and we had a 12-hour space earlier today. But welcome, A of A. Bassomatic, do you have anything that you'd like to add perhaps before we close? If not, we're gonna be closing this one down. If you're not aware, I do stream my life 24/7, 365, and we're gonna be doing spaces every night this week. And look forward to having as many people as we can there. Just want you all to know I'm sending you much love from California and wish you all the best in the future. You guys take care, and we look forward to talking to you quite soon. Good night, everyone. Take care, Cheryl. Take care, everyone. Yeah, she'd be like, why'd you end it? I'm like, dude, we went 3 hours and I can't talk that much about food spots.
Mental health issues affect all of us.
Oh,
We don't always want to talk about it with others. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and if we can talk about
what up, baby?
we can heal it. The Los Angeles County
Hi,
Department of
Beavis.
Mental Health cares about your well-being. Come together with your community for events all over the county. Meet others who are going through the same thing. Find resources and enjoy a day taking action for mental
Plus, this
health.
phone
Events
sucks.
go through May and June.
My phone
Go to
sucks.
actionlac.com to find one near you. I watched like 3 minutes. 3 minutes of any awards I had to puke. Where you got a voice out of it. Hold on. Delete me, would you? You did? Okay. Delete me.
Oh, cool. You're good. I am well.
Live 1 to 4 p.m. on
Thank you.
KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
I stream.
KFI live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Injured in an accident? Visit superwomansuperlawyer.com.
KFI AM 640.
Will peace give people platform to discuss more Look how many I have live. These are all live right now.
To talk to Richard Serra, call the wild card line at 818-501-4109. The first time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk to Richard from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies, toll free, call 800-618-8255.
Hey, shit.
This is Coast to Coast AM.
Really? Yeah.
With your guest host,
Did this shit
Richard
earlier,
Serra.
like some like shots on
Sitting
execution
for
style against
Illinois,
some people.
on Twitter at Richard Serra. Black Dog from a band who, for one night back in February of 1970, were known as the Knobs. That's right. Frau Eva von Zeppelin, who was a direct descendant of Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin, well, she was very upset over what she believed to be a dishonoring of the family name by the band, and so she demanded the group change their name, and she got her wish on February 28, 1970, when the band performed as the Knobs in Copenhagen. Both popular and critical opinion, of course, favored the band's preferred name, and they were Led Zeppelin once more for their next show and every show thereafter. All right, coming up next, open lines. Again, no politics, no COVID. I would like to offer up one possible conversation starter or topic for your consideration. It has to do
Dude,
with
shut the fuck up.
Someone
Stop
sent me
the
a
Israel.
reel from Instagram, I believe it was. And in the reel or video, this man, maybe in his 40s, was telling a story about being alone one New Year's Eve in a strange town. He went into he wasn't in a great place emotionally. I think he was on the road and away from his family. And he went to a diner, one of those places that are open all night on New Year's Eve. And in the diner, in the booth across from him, was an older couple. And they were loud, as he described it. They were loud. They were boisterous. And this annoyed the man. And he was giving them, well, we used to call it the stink eye, where you're basically demonstrating that you're really annoyed with someone's behavior. And he noticed that this gentleman, again in this booth across from him, was picking up his steak and eating it with his hand. And the man, again, telling the story on Instagram, said that at this point he almost got up and moved to another booth. He was so annoyed. He was upset. He was alone. He was sad. And now he was just plain annoyed, bordering on angry. He said, how could anyone be so rude, talking so loud, and then eating with his hands? What a horrible night, he said. What a horrible night. What horribly rude people, he thought to himself. And after about 3/4 of an hour, a waitress went over to the other couple's booth.
Oh, here's somebody.
And they happily
I want to watch it because I need some motivation. I think I can find anyone to do this. Oh, I do it. Absolutely. All day. I've done it for 606. I've done it for
It was then that the man
straight
telling the story on Instagram said he noticed the older man was missing
days.
his left arm. That's why he was
There you
eating
go.
with his hand. And as the couple passed him on their way out the door, the older man stopped. He bent over a little. He locked eyes with the annoyed man. He said nothing, but he gave him the warmest smile. And the man in the Instagram video was shocked. He didn't know what to say. He was embarrassed. He felt ashamed. And then his waitress came over. And as he was about to reach into his back pocket for his wallet to pay the bill, the waitress stopped him and said, "No, sir. That couple who just left, they paid for your bill." And the gentleman wanted me to tell you that he's sorry
Ha
that
ha
he and
ha.
his wife disturbed you while you were trying to eat.
4, 3,
He also
2,
wanted to wish you a very happy new year. He and his wife
Two,
said they hope
one,
you'll be in a better place.
boom. Thank you. Thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
So
You're welcome.
Very good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for not lighting this place on fire.
You're welcome.
How
How does one, just in the middle of doing all the things you do, create cars, rockets, all this stuff you're doing, constantly innovating, decide to just make a flamethrower? Or do you have the time for that?
Now that's an encounter with a stranger.
Well,
with a
the thing, I
wonderful
wouldn't put a lot.
Now your encounter with a stranger may or may not have a happy ending. Encounters with strangers that changed your life. Open lines on the other side, right here on Coast to Coast AM.
3, 2, 1. Brian Green, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. How are
Thanks
you?
for doing this, man.
Nationwide coverage for more than 25 years. Switch today and save up to half on your wireless bill. They offer unlimited talk and text with flexible data plans.
Look that picture of that fucking monkey I sent you this morning for breakfast.
What's that?
Who sent you those type of pictures?
What the picture you
The
sent me?
monkey.
Yeah. That girl's lovely private parts. That's the best name for a vagina, monkey.
I sent them to everybody too. Presidents of corporations, cops on Monday. Happy Monday. They make their day. Everybody's day is a lot better. Start the day on the right foot.
Especially the presidents of corporations. People that you imagine if you had to work in a fucking office for your whole life, as old as we are now. If we were in an office since the time we were like 23, 24 years old.
We're listening to Joe Rogan.
Just every day, button down, try not to say anything that's going to get you in trouble. Just trying to fucking make it to 5 o'clock and then immediately go to a bar and talk shit with your friends and then do it all over again on Monday.
I time it so I know you're in a meeting. I know that you're in a meeting with 8 white dudes and they're real serious about, numbers have to be up, statistics. And all of a sudden your phone rings. You fucking open it up and it's a picture of a woman's vagina. And it breaks up the whole morning. You're like, thank God Joey D is exists because he understands what I'm going through. That's tough. That's tough. Going to sales meetings. I used to go to sales meetings and they talk about, you know what the Anthony Robbins things?
Did you?
When I was a burglar, I went to Anthony Robbins.
To be a better burglar?
No, and I ended up kidnapping the motherfucker. He I walked on the poles. I was all in with Anthony Robbins. You do know that.
Really?
Because I worked for a Subaru dealership, so Subaru paid for you to go to Anthony Robbins seminars. So they would give me like 3 bills for the day for per diem. I would go to Denver and do the Anthony Robbins seminar.
Dude, you should be a Subaru spokesperson. Who's more loyal to Subaru than you?
Nobody.
You fucking love Subarus.
Love them. Love them. I just cannot.
Because you lived in Boulder.
I lived in Aspen.
Yes.
And I saw vans. I saw every type of high-level cars spin around. And you just lose control. Did you ever lose control in Colorado?
I didn't, but I did in Boston a bunch of times. Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
It's not. Whenever you're driving in snow, it's touching you. You can get patches of ice.
And in Colorado tonight, you got a thing called black ice. And, I remember I worked at the Crestwood. I was security. And I had to pick people up at the airport at night. And I fucking did everything I could to get out of that job. Because one night I was in the van with people doing the speed limit. No alcohol, I just hit black ice and things like that. You don't know where you're going to land.
But you have no idea. I was in the wire once. There's a wire now where there's no ground underneath it, so things freeze quicker. We went over this bridge, just got lucky. We both went all right. We stopped. We were facing the wrong way, but there was no one on the road because it was early. We were heading back to the airport. Got back to the line. Okay, I remember this. All of a sudden, you got no power.
I love German technology. I love the look of a lot of sport cars and everything like that. But when there's been nights I 10 years ago, I had a gig in Irvine. And it was raining. January in California, just coming down. I mean, because the cars are turned off. I'm doing 7 stops. Wow,
is a Subaru so good then? Like, what is the big deal about Subarus?
When I first started, like, I had never sold a car before. I was a detailer, and I became friends with the guy at Subaru. And he would bust my balls every day. His name was Peter. Little guys,
From Florida, you went all the way up to
Colorado to sell cars, and I was probably in those days they gave you $1,500 the first month they trained you to sell cars. I knew nothing about the car. If you had that car and the axle fell off, you got rid of it because you're not a car guy. You're not gonna get up on Saturdays and go to the store, find a piece from 1966 converter. It just, some people have that as a hobby. Tim Allen, Jed Leno, Gabriel. I love them for that. I don't have that gift. So when I was introduced to the Supra, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's just another fucking car. And then I saw snowstorms. And I saw how people reacted to Subarus. In Boulder, it's either Subaru or a fucking 4Runner. Yeah, that's it. I'm telling you, that's it. So, you know, once the snow drops, that September snowstorm, it's Subaru. Subaru's the first car that has an engine sideways. The engine isn't in like usual cars. That was the secret about Subaru.
The engine sideways.
It's
I've seen a few engines like that. Right? What do they call that? Inline?
Inline, something like that.
No, inline is straight, right? That's like a BMW.
They have some word for it. It's Subaru technology started there. And then when I started selling Subarus, they had a GL10 that I was really impressed with because what it let you do is if you went up Lee Hill Road, okay, and you made the left to go down into your property, and there was snow, you could press a button and the shock absorbers would fill up, and your car would rise above so you could go through the snow. So all those little things. The only
They had that way back then?
1988, 89, the GL10s, the only knock Subaru had was that if you had a stick, you couldn't keep your hand on it.
You couldn't keep your hand on the stick.
Right, so if I'm driving a stick, boom, I'm in two, I'm in three, I gotta get my hand off it. I could only, the clutch cable, that was the only knock they had.
So the clutch cable would break?
Would break if you kept your hand on
Oh, I had one of those break on me once.
Yeah, so you have to go 1, then 2, then 3, then 4.
I had it actually break on me twice. Once I got stuck in second gear and I managed to drive to a parking lot and get towed. It was in, I had a 2005 or something like that. 2004, 2005 Porsche. It just kept breaking. And the thing that kept breaking was that thing with the clutch and also the fuel pump.
Yeah, that was a GL10 sedan. I'm talking about the wagon, the dooted up wagon. It was just a brilliant automobile. And then I started selling Toyotas.
Those things are still on the road.
They're still on the road, guys. And this is what I'm saying about the American dollar. I like the Subaru because I respect what they do with the American dollar. They give you $1 worth for $1.
All right.
They really do. For the American who's really looking for a fucking car to last, I've gone into Douglas Toyota and have seen trucks with a million miles on a Toyota truck. That says a lot. When you're an American, you're a construction guy, you know, you're putting in bids and blah, blah, blah.
Do you know Matt Farah?
Why
Smoking Tire? Do you know that dude?
No.
He's a big fan of ours. He loves comedy. He's got this great YouTube channel that's all about cars. And they had a car, a Lexus, that they took to 1 million miles. He had a 1 million mile Lexus.
Now who makes Lexus at the end of the day?
Toyota.
What the fuck are we talking
about? That's what I'm saying.
So
I had 3 Lexuses over the course of my life. Never had a single problem. 0 problems. They just work. They always work.
They just work.
All cars are so amazing now. It's like the bar is set so high that if you just get if you get a Mustang GT, just a Mustang GT today, which is like very reasonable. Like I think a Ford Mustang GT. Tell me how much one of those fucking things cost. But it's got perfect 20 years ago, and it's probably under $50,000. It's probably 40 grand. How much are those?
26.
26.
26,000.
Is that for the regular Mustang or the GT?
I think it's this. I take the GT, but it says regular.
Okay, so that's I think the regular one might have a 6-cylinder. I'm not sure. I think they still do that. I might be wrong about that.
Premium fastback starts at 39.
Okay, and that's the one with the V8, right? That's the Coyote V8. It's a 5-liter V8. It's fucking wicked powerful, like 460 horsepower. I mean, the power that you get with $45,000 today, it's just insane. They keep getting better and better and better. It's like, where are they going to go with these fucking
And the
things?
leases are great.
Oh, yeah.
The leases are great. The deals they're giving you now, I mean, a buddy of mine just bought a car. They got a 1.5, whatever, interest rate, whatever, 1.5, mediocre credit. It's a time to buy a car.
Yeah.
Get whatever the fuck you want.
Well, cars are good now. That's the thing. It's like you can't make a shitty car anymore. Like America went through a time period where we just made dog shit cars, and everybody knew that they broke. And everybody was like, "Look, if you buy American cars, you're going to buy something that's going to cost the same amount, but it's not going to last as long." And the Japanese just took the Germans. They just took over.
They took it over. Then Lee Iacocca brought it back to the K car.
You know what's the most hilarious country though for cars? My people. The Italians. They never made a single car that's reliable.
Remember we had the conversation about my buddy who had the Italian car. He went crazy. He said, "I'm gonna keep it in my roots." The car is still in his garage, bro. Rusty, fucking the Bugatti or whatever the fuck.
Apparently, the new ones you can drive. Like a new one, they're actually reliable.
For 2 weeks.
No. The new ones apparently, it's like everything else. They got to a point where they just had to have better electronics.
Triumph.
Yes, I do.
The Triumph. So we grew up on the Triumph, the thing by Volkswagen.
I don't remember that one.
The thing by Volkswagen.
Was that their little van thing?
It was a little van thing. There's like 10 left. If you got a thing, somebody will give you $1 million.
Really?
They had a Subaru made a car called the Just.
Oh, that's it?
That's
Wow.
the thing. Subaru made a car called the Justy, a 3-cylinder.
Look at that.
Just to compete with Hyundai. When Hyundai came out with the Mobile in '87, Hyundai changed the game. Hyundai came out with the Astana, whatever that little 4-door car is, 160, 150 down, 150 a month. Busted the car industry. Subaru had to compete. Everybody had to drop to those tin cans just to compete.
There was a lot of people driving those Hyundais when they first came out. They were so cheap. A buddy of mine got one.
150 a month.
Yeah.
All day long.
A buddy of mine got one that I used to drive, deliver papers with. And he was telling me, he's like, look, these fucking Koreans, man, when they get into something, they know what they're doing. Like, if they're going to jump into the car market, that's a disciplined group of people. If they're going to jump into the car market, they're going to make a badass car.
Well, listen,
They're very reliable.
Mitsubishi, for example. Mitsubishi, people hate Mitsubishi. Americans.
Why do they hate Mitsubishi?
Because Mitsubishi made the parts that were in the magnets that the Americans went up against in World War II.
Oh, really?
So if you try to sell the fucking, those guys are all gone. Rest in peace. But when you sold a car to a guy that did the reading on, like there were certain Chryslers that had Mitsubishi parts. Ford had Mitsubishi parts on it because Mitsubishi's like the greatest, biggest thing of car parts. So everybody has Mitsubishi parts on that car. Some belongs to Mitsubishi.
So if you had a Mitsubishi, you were a bad person.
No. So when some Americans, old school veterans, those guys that wear the jackets with the hat, when they come to see a car, if you show them a Chrysler, a certain type of Chrysler, they go, nah, they got a Mitsubishi fucking tailpipe.
That makes sense.
Because that's how pissed off they were about, because the Megs were shipped down the Americans or something. It was some historic thing. But that Mitsubishi got into the business. Mitsubishi busted along in like the 80s, the late 80s. They came out with that fucking car, the Eclipse. Remember the Eclipse?
I remember that.
Yeah, a little fucking car.
I had a Mitsubishi at one point. I had a Starion. Remember that?
Yeah, Mitsubishi because they were cheap. You go into Toyota plants to buy Toyotas. You're a mutt.
Here to speak to that, Dodge used to sell their version of the Starion. It was the Conquest. Dodge had the Conquest TSI, and it was their version of the Starion. It was the same car. It was one of the rare times in history where two car companies have the exact same car. The exact same car. One was the Conquest, one was the Starion. That was it.
Yes. Yeah.
That red one right there looks exactly like my buddy Jimmy DiTellio's. My buddy Jimmy had one exactly like that. when we were like 21.
This is why it's very hard for a guy like me to fall for fads, especially for cars, because I've seen a lot of fad. I remember the Suzuki Samurai. How many motherfuckers killed the Suzuki Samurai? Was like the scooter. You know these jerk offs, the scooters today, thinking that they're cool. The Suzuki Samurai came around and it started tipping over. The thing started tipping over. But again,
People try to take corners with them as if it's like a sports car.
the thing weighed 8 pounds. I had friends tipping them over. They were made of fucking tin. And they were 150 down, 150 a month. And for fucking an extra $25, I had a guy with a fan. Because he would die in these things. People would die.
What the fuck is that thing?
What?
They sell these in the Studio City.
What is it?
It's an electric car that's like a one-seater. It's a three-wheel one-seater car.
Electra Mechanica?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
I think that's it.
Electra. Yeah,
Dad, it's crazy, and it's a one-person car.
yeah, it's like
You know what's
Canadian
good about that car?
Bro.
It doubles as a casket. That's what's great about that fucking car. That your family saves 10 G's by a casket. They just bury you in that fucking thing.
But if you think about it, if you have to get around everywhere, and it's just you most days, and something like this is cheap, what is the difference between being in that and being in a big truck with all that fucking empty space? You drive around and escalate
Like
everywhere.
a fucking idiot in that fucking thing. You ever drive past one of these idiots and you're in a light and you actually look at him and you're like, in his mind, he's thinking he's the coolest guy in the fucking world. That guy thinks he's fucking Ricky Gervais.
That is actually a cool looking one. Look at that front hood scoop.
Joe, that's a casket. That's
Is that a headlight? No, it's a hood scoop. Is that their high beam?
I don't think it looks like headlights, but
I think that's actually a real hood scoop. For some
it's
strange
like a
reason.
plastic piece over it.
Yeah, what is that? Is that clear plastic over it? Is that what I'm looking at?
Could be because it's inside, but I don't know.
I'm
So
telling you,
crazy.
that's like the RX-7. The RX-7 was a casket for two.
Was it?
Remember the Mazda RX-7?
Yeah.
I fucking hated that car. You know why, though? And that's why. Because I was coming home on January 1st. And I was one of the first people on the site. And I don't want to say I was tripping on something. I was on some type of drug, but I wasn't over the hill. I was still alert. And we were like maybe the third car there. And it was a Mazda. And it hit a pole head on. And it was split down the middle all the way to the windshield. And I could hear the girl yelling.
Oh my God.
And we were there. The fire department came, ambulance, a couple heroes. Get him out. He was dead on arrival. They saw the car, and that's why I don't like those little cars. They're caskets. That's their caskets. In those days, and after that, I never got an RX-7. My buddy the devil had an RX-7.
Were they the ones with the rotary engine?
I don't know.
Does Mazda have? There's a sports car company that uniquely has the rotary engine. It's a different kind of engine. It's not like cylinders. Is that it? It is Mazda? Yeah, they got a different kind of engine.
Mazda's a good
You ever
car.
Dude, I drove one of the more modern
Mazda's a
Mazdas
good car.
in like 2000, maybe? No, it was like 90s. Like before, okay, it was before I moved to California. See, look at that thing. That's how the engine works. Instead of having a bunch of pistons, it's got this big fucking thing in the middle of it. Like, I wish I understood engines to know why this is that different.
But regular engines have
Pistons.
like this
Pistons. Real car people must be going crazy right now.
I'm sorry,
Fucking
ladies and
idiots.
gentlemen. It's been
They
years.
don't know shit. So we're watching this video that says Mazda RX-7 rotary engine, how it works, and it's describing how it works in this very strange video where you're watching this thing rolling around inside of an oval. It looks like a big oval engine container. It's very different, but it's very fast. It was the one that this guy had. I guess, like I'm saying, I think it's 93 or something like that. It was really fast. It really handled really well too. But it was a very light car. And these things are weird now. Like rotary engine, that's weird. Like how come nobody else adopted that? Just but it looks like a badass watch, you know?
See, I didn't have a car education, but by selling cars and Boulder, I learned a lot. Now I forget that stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, because the level of intelligence in Boulder University And they would come in there, but older, let's at the end of the day, University of Colorado is where you won't be an astronaut. You know that.
Is that what it is?
Like that's heavy duty. Older, that was the whole thing back then. So those people move into town between them and the Japanese that move there. They come to Subaru and they ask very intelligent questions, completely different, kind of like you, me, and Jamie, but
You're saying we're dumb.
yes, compared to what they ask.
Like what kind of questions?
You know, and velocity, this, and that. I had to find these answers for them.
Wow.
Because they were like astronauts. I'd have to go in. There was no computers in 80 fucking 8 like that I could go on. So I had to go on a brochure and really go into it. And then they'd take the calculator out. And there were those type of people. So that's why I remember learning as much as I could because they were so intelligent. And they'd come home, especially the Japanese guys, they couldn't speak that good English. But they would look at cars, what's this, what's the weight?
That's what's really amazing if you stop and think about the creation of cars and how they've evolved and they keep getting better. For a long time, they did it without the internet. Long time. Some of the greatest cars ever created, pre-internet. You know? Just think about all the various forms of sports cars and 911s, all those different Corvettes that came out. All that shit was before the internet. They were just looking at each other's pictures, looking at magazines, and everyone was competing against each other to have the best handling car, the best looking car, best fuel efficiency. Things kept shifting over the years. Like for 10 years in America, they didn't make anything good. For 10 years. It was the years from American muscle cars. When I say anything good, I mean like something that like a muscle car lover, other than the Trans Am. The Trans Am is the exception to the rule. Trans Am, they made some, those Smokey and the Bandit cars that people to this day still want. That was in the 70s. But from the 1960s, like say 65-ish to like 70, America couldn't be touched. Those muscle cars are insane. They just kept pumping out cooler and cooler shapes. What did classics? We drove a 1968 fastback Mustang. Is that a bad motherfucker? Oh yeah. How bad of a motherfucker is that? Well, it's a beautiful car. The design is the back end of a 68 Mustang is one of the most underrated forms in all of automotive design. That's a 68 Shelby. That's different. It's a GT500. It's a totally different shape. The Shelby had a completely different set of rear taillights. They had altered quite a bit about the Shelby, like the way it looks in the front end as well. Just regular 68 Mustang just has this beautiful, like contoured rear end. Look at that. Look at that. That green car. That's like a real modern looking, like updated version of it. Real pretty, with a phenomenal deep green paint job. But look how good that rear looks. That's what he drove. That's what he drove, motherfucker. Look at that. That is Americana, baby. Look at the tail end of that fucking vehicle, man, with the chrome and the chrome bumpers and the red headlights and the black behind. Look at that fucking car, man. No seatbelt. Well, they have those ones around your waist. Yeah, like in the back. Yeah, waist belt. No, there's no seatbelt. Look how he bounced around like fucking rock back there. How many horsepower? It's not that much. Not that much, man. A really powerful car back then had like 350 horsepower. Like, let's find out what was the 1968 GT500. That was their most powerful one. I'm gonna imagine this had like 400 horsepower. Say 1968, just Shelby GT 500 horsepower. 1968 Shelby GT, because that was what they would do is they take it to Carroll Shelby. Carroll Shelby would take their regular Mustang, just juice it the fuck up. More power, better handling, better looks. Here goes 400, perfect. There.
Now, who were they competing with? Like, what was... This is Ford, right?
Yeah, they were competing against the Camaro at this point because they made a larger car. Yeah, sort of the Corvette was like a little bit of a different category because it was a pure sports car, where this car had back seats. So that's a 400 horsepower. So compared to the Mustang of today, the regular GT, forget about the new one. They have a new GT 500 that has like 760 horsepower. The new GT 500 goes 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. It's a monster.
Which one were they making for that movie that just came out?
That was
the Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh,
for the Le Mans.
I don't
That's
know.
what it was for.
I think it was that about race car. I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it was Shelby. It was him making that car. I think like they had
Oh,
2
really?
weeks to make it or 2 days to make it. Fucking, I didn't see the movie.
Well, probably for the movie they can juice that up, right? I don't know. I thought they were race cars though. I didn't think they were like these kind of cars. This is like a GT car. I don't know.
Let's see it. Oh yeah, this is the GT500. Maybe that's what it was for.
Yeah, I think it's not even the GT500. I think it's the GT40, which is their race car. I think because I'm pretty sure I didn't see the
Yeah, I
movie.
thought you would have known. I thought you might have saw
I think it's a different GT. I think it's their actual race car. But the new one, this Shelby has a new GT500, a ridiculous car. It's faster on tracks than the new Corvette. They have a new Corvette, this crazy rear engine, mid-engine rather Corvette. So the newest Corvette, it's the best Corvette ever. This GT500 is even faster than that. It's bonkers.
Yeah, GT40.
Yeah, it's a different kind of car. That's the car that's only for the racetrack. These guys, you could buy a Shelby GT500 today. Walk out of a dealer showroom. Hi, do you know how to drive? Yes, sir. Here's my license. Like, you don't have to hardly know shit. And they'll let you just drive home in one of the most preposterous automobiles ever offered to man. You can just go right to a Ford dealership, and if you have I'm going to say a Shelby GT500's $80,000. How much does that cost? A brand new Shelby GT500. Wait, you got to pee already? Okay.
Coming up tonight on Coast to Coast AM with yours truly. All right, back to
How much one of those cost?
your wonderful call right here.
$72,900.
That's crazy.
$760.
So for $73,000, you can buy a car that is so fast. If you really can know that there's a difference between the speed of that and then the next car after that, the next car that's more powerful, you really should be in jail.
LCD.
Oh, it's dope as fuck.
Charging cluster for your
Yeah. Well, a lot of cars are doing that now because they can get so much more information in front of you instead of just the standard gauges. But dude, there's still something about them standard gauges.
See the Mustang electric car?
Yes.
Not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's like a fat Mustang, right? Yeah. It's interesting, right? They're using the Mustang name for other shit now. That's controversial. That could cause a problem. Why not just come up with another name? That's not a Mustang. You know that's not a Mustang. That's an SUV.
Yeah, what about mixing a Mustang if it's
Right. Why are you doing
electric?
that? They're talking about doing that with Corvette, too. The Corvette could branch off and become a brand like Cadillac is. You know, Cadillac is a brand. It's, it's synonymous with luxury. Like you think of Cadillacs, but it's a GM car. And if they decide to take the Corvette model and just make it a brand, and so have dope SUVs, like fast, racy SUVs, fast, racy four-door sedans.
Whatever sells cars, man. Because did you see that Tesla's now valued at as much as GM and Ford together combined?
Yeah, whoops, guys. Fucking dummies. He's a super genius. Just back off. It's hilarious, right?
Yeah, it's still going up today. Like,
Guy makes amazing cars. He makes amazing fucking cars. We're talking about Elon Musk. Tesla is worth more today than, what is it? What's the stock?
GM and Ford, I think it's over 500 now, but like the market value is they're combined.
Yeah, and everybody was saying it was going to fall apart.
I think it's a beautiful car, guys, but I gotta give it one time. Especially the self-driving shit. My buddy has the. It's beautiful. He's got the electronic one.
Which one? Which one though? I don't know. Is it Tesla?
Yeah, that's gorgeous. But he was telling me to go to San Diego. You gotta stop in Commerce City.
Yep.
And plug it in for 20 minutes and sit there like a bump on a log.
Yep, you do.
There's just so many different charging places. I took an Uber a couple of weeks ago. I got a car that was just amazing. That blew me away. Fucking Honda Accord hybrid. So they're making everything.
Accord they make some nice Accord
now. This car, looks beautiful. You get a Honda, you get Toyota sometimes, not Toyota as much, but Mitsubishi. What's the other one? Hyundai. And you close the door. There's a lightness in the metal. That's where you see there's a lightness. Like, you close it a certain way. When I get you a fucking Porsche, and I close it, that makes a certain noise. It's a distinct noise.
You never been in my little tiny one. I got a 1993 964. It's a real light car, but the metal in it is so much thicker than any metal you've ever used today. This door is like a chunk. When you close the door, chunk. Like you could feel the weight to it. You feel when you tap the fenders too. There's no give. It's a different structure. Totally different.
So I was blown away even by the Honda Accord hybrid, you know, what we're paying for gas. I mean, it's just a great little car. I'm looking at a couple different options. I was in Huntington Beach.
Are you thinking about going away from Subaru?
Adding something to my collection just because
You need to get a
I
Cadillac.
gotta fucking.
I've always said you need a Cadillac. You should have had a Cadillac.
Cadillac is a badass.
You should be a Cadillac
That
man.
dude gave me a ride. Last week I was in Huntington Beach and I took a special Uber special. It was that Cadillac. He told me exactly how he got it, what the scam is with them, how to do it. Yes. I get in my Subaru, the battery's messed up.
I wonder if they're more reliable now. I don't know anything about them.
It's on a fucking gorgeous. That's a gorgeous car. And when you sit in it,
What model is that? TSFE. Is that what that is? That's a beautiful fucking car, man. Look at that front end. The design is just so, it's so interesting. It's like,
after I left here the last two times, the guy reached out and said he would give me one
you need a Cadillac.
for $560 a month. Lease zero down.
Take it. Joey, I want to see you strolling around in a Cadillac. I would love it. Bumping Biggie.
I can't.
Biggie.
And the Super I love that I have. People like, oh, why are you driving a lesbian car? Always. And it hurts my feelings. Like, why are you driving a lesbian car? No, it's not a lesbian car. It's a fucking Super.
You love a reliable car. I respect that about you.
I want to get in the car and start it. I don't want to be in service.
I don't think these things are unreliable anymore.
You know, I got free service. You know, the warranties they give you now are fucking, you know, Volkswagen, which nobody buys.
Look at that, dude.
What is that?
That's a Cadillac.
Oh, that's fucking
CTSV. Look at that fucking car. Is that the coupe? Is that a four-door? It's hard to tell because the picture's so dark. That's a four-door. That's two. Yeah, see the little rear window? That's not like a full window. Wow, that's a beautiful car, man. They make some killer. You know what's a killer fucking car right now if you want an SUV? Lincoln Navigator. The new one is insane.
I wonder what happened to Lincoln. Are they still in business?
They only make the Navigator, and then they make one or two other luxury coupes, which are very nice.
Beautiful
The cars now are very nice.
Gorgeous. Then they went away. Like they just.
Well, the
Lincoln
Navigator's the
Continental
biggest thing.
was big. They sold 10 million of those to limo drivers.
Yeah.
Then they stopped production on them, so I didn't know what was going on with Lincoln Continental. They just tapped out.
You know what's the shit? Is those 1965s with the suicide doors? Come on, son. You know, I'm not that bold. I could not buy one of those cars. You come rolling around in one of those 1965 Lincoln Continentals with the suicide doors, like, holy shit.
Green one and drive.
Did you drive a Continental?
See what he drove in James.
Green Hornet.
He used to get out and open the door sideways. Whatever his name was. The Black Beauty.
Chrysler Imperial Crown.
Beautiful fucking
Wow. Let me see a picture of that. 1966 Chrysler. Look at that thing. We're looking at picture one, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like it has machine guns that poke out of the hood. And missiles.
That was the Black Beauty.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
But I always like the way
Ooh,
the
look at
doors
that thing.
open.
That's the car?
Yeah.
What a fucking car. Who made that one? No, that's a resto mod. Oh, is that the new Green Hornet? Oh, the new one. That was the new one with Seth Rogen, right? Yeah, I didn't see that one.
No, I want to know the one with
Ooh,
Bruce Lee
look at
drove.
that one.
Look at that one.
People don't understand. We're a little too young for it, but people don't understand what an impact Bruce Lee had when he was doing the Green Hornet. When people saw him do martial arts moves the way he did on screen, like people wanted to. I mean, you have to think about how many people would watch a TV show back then. Like if you had a TV show, there's only like 3 different things to watch, right? Like if you had a TV show, you had the entire country watching one of 3 things. And if you had a big show, like the Green Hornet was.
The Green Hornet ain't on Sunday nights. So it was like stealing.
Yeah, everyone's
you had,
home.
You either had Lawrence Welk on fucking Channel 7 on ABC. Look at these. Look, 1968. You didn't see this.
Look at that guy drop.
And he just traumatized NBC. NBC was traumatized. They only did 6 episodes.
Look how bad their fucking fight scenes are. Look at these white guys faking punches to see like old school bad TV like fight acting, like where you know the punch didn't hit him and the hair goes flying. It's so weird, especially because we're not playing any of the volume, so we're just watching it. So when you're watching with no volume, you get to really see how preposterous it is.
How many TV shows did that guy do? That Spanish dude did about 1,000 episodes of different TV shows. The late 60s, all through the 70s.
Who is it?
I don't know what
He's the guy that was starring right there.
Yeah, that guy. Oh, that guy was like, character actors were like fucking so huge back then. But then Bruce Lee came on Sunday nights. I still remember driving back from Miami with my family and like being pissed because I miss Bruce Lee. Then they canceled it. You didn't see nothing about Bruce Lee again, bro.
How long was it between that and the big movies?
It was about a year and a half that kung fu movies were mainstream. 5 Fingers of Death came out. Five Fingers of Death. It was all about the iron palm technique. The guy would look at you and his palm would turn pink. And that started with that. And then Fist of Fury came out. But I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I went to see Fist of Fury in the movie theater. I don't remember. When Chinese Connection came out, that's what changed the ball game. But see, it pisses me off today. You know, when I see fucking people 20 years old talking about the impact of Bruce Lee or whatever.
That was so silly.
He wasn't going to be Muhammad Ali. He was, whatever. Bruce Lee meant that the little guy had hope. Bruce Lee gave the immigrant hope. That's what all these guys thought. Well, Bruce Lee fucking, it changed everybody. He put a little bounce in the step.
He changed martial arts.
He changed martial arts, but he gave you hope. The movie theaters were packed. Martial arts schools were packed. Black people were going crazy because nobody suffered anymore. Did you see Dolomite yet?
No, it's not.
No, again, you gotta watch these shits if I'm gonna come on the show. Because when Dolomite, did you see it? When he's selling,
You mean the new one?
yeah. That's how first of all, fucking our boy stole the show. Our boy, the dude who you were gonna fucking MMA.
Oh, Wesley
Stole the fucking movie, okay? Bad motherfucker.
He's a bad motherfucker.
Bad motherfucker. I'm sick and tired of these people going, well, what happened to him? Nothing happened to him. Well, David Tell. What happened to David Tell? David Tell is getting stronger every week. While you're looking at some fucking idiot jumping up and down on Netflix, David Tell is getting stronger and stronger. When you go see David Tell, it's like people going crazy right now about Uncut Gems. Shit, Adam Sandler's been around for 30 years. He's got something for your ass. It may not be goofy, jumping up and down and wetting you, but when he did, have you seen Uncut Gems?
I heard it's great.
Just go for him, to cheer him on, to go, you know what? Thank God. Because people think that we're like fucking mooks as comics. I'll hit you from fucking 90 different directions. You could just act, bitch. We could do it all. And when we get 30 years under our belt, we become weapons like Jimmy Smith, like all of these people that have been doing it for 30 plus fucking years. Eventually, you're going to get fucking good at it. Yeah. So, I still didn't see the Tarantino movie. I saw the Joker.
Tarantino movie's amazing.
I won't see it out of disrespect for Bruce Lee. I saw the Joker.
Wow,
I just don't even want to go there with no I'm not in the mood. If he didn't fucking live through it, I don't want to hear his fucking take on it.
It's not, it doesn't make sense.
It disrespected Shannon, so it means it disrespected me. You disrespected my fucking pal, and now I don't even know Shannon Lee.
Yeah.
But if a bunch of these people got fired up, I watched the Joker. I liked it.
The Joker was intense.
I liked the Joker was intense. I saw Uncut Gems. During the break, I went to Christmas night. My fucking girls went to sleep, so I slid over to the Lemley, ate 3 edibles, and my heart was beating with that fucking, because that movie's Joey Diaz, 83 to 84. Whatever you want to do, we're going to do. If you want to do it, Rogan, listen, I got something coming next week. Let me get 20 G's till next week. There ain't no next week. Jamie, don't say nothing, Rogan. I need 10 to fucking put this number in. And it just goes. Think of your life from there. You borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and then you're telling Jesus to suck your dick. It's nonstop. I want to see. They people said that. People like, don't get high and go see it. Fuck you. I'm going Jesus to go see it. I prepared like an
Who's in that?
Huh?
Who's in it?
Just Adam Sandler, a bunch of fucking whatever. It's just a movie about a basketball player that you don't know. What is it? Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
And it's nonstop.
So it's mostly Sandler. And it's like
Sandler bumping into, oh, what happened to my 30s?
oh wow.
I'll catch you next week. I gotta go. Yeah, you motherfucker. You know, it's fucking constant. It's, you know, that life. And then it's an Academy Award winner. I don't fucking know. You know, I took it home, my award for a couple of days. Okay. Is anything in a fucking Academy Award winner anymore? I watched The Irishman. You didn't see it yet either, so again, you go skiing for 3 hours. What are you doing on these flights? You look at it anyway, wait for him to go to sleep. Then you go to sleep, you fuck. Because that's why I watch these 3-hour movies. I can't watch them at home. I got a 7-year-old.
So you watch them on flights? On flights, I try to write. Sometimes I've come up with some of my best bits while writing.
No, that's after the movie. But it's a 5-hour and 51-minute flight.
That's true.
So I usually do a little, you know, I listen to music, I get tuned up, I eat whatever they give me. I fucking put the movie on, and I got the notebook right on the iPad, so if something comes to me, you tighten it up. And then you got the whole night that night in your hotel room. But no, I like The Irishman.
Do you write on your iPad?
Yeah, like that.
You write on the screen, or do you have one of those detachable keyboards?
I have the keyboard with the screen, and I just type like I'm usually, so that's why I put the final product now. So now I have a notebook still where I fuck around, put different stupid ideas. And then once the joke works, I put it on the iPad now, and I can add text.
Oh,
It's not like I used to before, so now I have.
But you're just typing on the iPad screen, just like a phone, right? Like you don't have a keyboard that you
No, I have a
attach to.
keyboard.
Oh, you have a separate keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Apple
Okay.
one with the big screen.
Yes, okay.
It saved my life. The best thing that ever happened.
When you
No
do that, it's
Twitter.
basically like a little laptop.
Listen to me. No Twitter. No Facebook. No nothing. I got YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, and that writing. That's it. That's the whole time.
That's good for your head,
Friday
right?
night, nobody fucking you. If you Facebook me on Friday night and I'm on the road, you gotta suck my dick. Twitter, the same thing. I don't want to look at it on the road. That's a distraction. So on the road, I don't want to do podcasts. I don't want to do nothing. I want to lift a little bit, maybe go to a fucking local kickboxing school and do a workout. But I want to focus on that writing, not 6 hours worth. I ain't no fucking Hemingway. Just to make little adjustments from the night before.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, you got this time when you're on the road, and you can use it in a way that's going to help you. It can be beneficial, or you can just use it. One of two things, right? You got to figure out like what's optimal for you when you're on the road. For me, I always have better sets when I work out.
You have to work out.
Always.
You have to work
I
out.
don't like that weird fog that I feel when I fly into somewhere and then I just like get ready for the show. I'm like, gosh, fucking, there's something about like it's hard to get everything going. But if you just get on an elliptical machine for 20 minutes, just listen to some good music and just say, there's no option. You have to do this. Just fucking do this. Once 10 minutes gets going, then you're sweating, you're having a good time. Then you're fine. Then you're good for 40 minutes or more.
We've been friends.
Like waiters or waitresses, right? And we may have an encounter that lasts 30 seconds, a minute. And sometimes something can transpire in that 30 seconds or a minute. We'll never see that person ever again. But that encounter changes us. It changes maybe it can change the trajectory of our life.
Google, YouTube is just working like a charm.
A smile on a day when you were really
Hey, Michael Bass,
To a
can I call you back?
coma, a Russian
in a second?
guy
Oh,
in
actually,
a
I think I
fight
got
a few
you.
years.
Yeah, but just let me give it a call back.
It's amazing. I mean, we
Back.
really don't understand the impact that we can have
Just one moment.
on other people in such a simple way. They cost nothing.
but in the lighter weight divisions, more likely to die from fights. And they think it might have something to do with cutting weight, but it's also like really skillful people punch each other in the head. Gerald McClellan fight is a good example of that they always point to, because Gerald McClellan, who was just a straight up murderer when he was light heavyweight, he struggled to weight, man, bad. And in the fight, Nigel Ben got back and literally out and made it back into the ring, fought his ass off, and then started taking it to Gerald.
But this dude come kick right here again.
Yeah, and that was the end of the fight. After Ray Mancini stopped him, everybody's all happy, and then the guy slides into a coma, winds up dying. See, he's sitting there, like, so he's really battered. They think, again,
What's up, baby? I got a space going that's just going to be streaming Joe Rogan.
It's a fucking
And I'm just
horrible,
gonna do this
horrible
all
way to go,
week.
man.
And
But
why?
to be killed,
I mean, I've
that's what he
I've
signed
got
up
a
for.
great little core group of people who've been joining our spaces.
I mean, he
and
fought that way too.
Just,
You
you
know
know,
what,
kind of get out
Originally
there
was
for
one of the
awareness. But
wildest
I think
fights.
a lot of people like Joe Rogan and
Durant,
those kind
Sugar
of
Ray
things, so
Leonard
they want to try to
Holy shit.
Is it wild?
Oh my God. I
That's
just
one
watched it again the other
Toronto,
day.
right?
I think.
Yeah, Toronto was the first one. Louisiana was the second one. Montreal, yeah, that's a good one. That's a
Montreal was the first one? Yeah. God
That's a
damn,
really good
God
one.
damn, it was
That's a really good one.
It was
That's
crazy.
crazy. Papina Cuevas, there's some crazy fights on there.
These guys were so
It's
fast.
a very good idea.
Both Leonard
Basically,
and
you just
Durant
take
were so fast back
the
then.
Twitter
And
spaces that
Leonard
we have
was
recorded,
just,
and
I mean, he
essentially
was America's darling, Olympic gold medalist, handsome, sweetheart of a guy. And Roberto Duran was a straight up savage who was sponsored by a cigarette company. Look at that. He's got a cigarette company logo on his back. That was a cigarette company, wasn't it?
Looks like Marlboro.
I think he had a cigarette company sponsor him. Well, either way, maybe it was just a design. He was a monster, and he just jumped on top of Sugar Ray Leonard
Oh,
and
yeah,
wouldn't let him
it's a
breathe.
very good
And
idea.
Sugar Ray decided to try to fight.
Yeah,
Just decided to try to
playlist with
engage
that,
him.
but yeah, no, I'm
Like
definitely
up close like
and
this.
then
So they
just be able
fought
to
these
comment
kind of
every
fights
1 or
like this
2
in the
hours or
clinch.
so.
Total fucking
it's so
chaos kind
much
of fighting,
when
which
you're
favors Duran.
doing it
You know,
yourself.
Duran was just a
I'm not
relentless,
saying done yourself.
long
You're
animal.
I have really good
Yeah.
co-hosts, and you're one of them.
But see how
No,
he's just
you're
wrestling
absolutely
with him
fine.
and
Not even
fucking
that. I'm saying, like,
underhooking him and
you know,
pushing him
if you can
against
talk-
the ring, staying in his face. He's not giving him any chance to move. And in the rematch,
Right.
obviously Sugar Ray fought a totally different fight and got Roberto Duran to quit.
And that's the key. So I've had some
But it was
technical
an
issues.
amazing
Obviously,
fight.
we had the internet, but
And
that's been working
historically,
better,
like one of the
thankfully.
greatest
But
boxing
from what
matches ever.
My
Just
phone.
chaos.
So like I had,
Sugar Ray
well,
Leonard
first
taking a
you had
chance,
to be
and, you know,
like
his
when you
ego
awoke
probably
this
got the better
morning,
of
you
him.
had to
Said,
be
I'm
like,
going to
holy
beat you in
shit,
your own
Rabbi
game, or
still
try
going?
to. And Duran just stuck to him like
Thank you.
glue and just ripped
It
out
was
his
huge. It was
body
the
and
biggest one
stayed
we've ever
on him.
had.
And then after it's over, Duran still
No,
pushed
we
him
had
away. He's like, get the
185.
fuck away from me.
Well,
Like, after the fight was over, Duran was still mad at him. Great head movement.
It was in Montreal.
if you saw it, I sent you some screenshots of what it was, and I kept taking screenshots, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, are there really that many fucking people in this room? I'd look on my computer, it would be like 185. I'd look on an Android device, it would be 185. I'd look on my iPhone, it was 185. It was huge. So then, but the thing is, it overwhelms your phone to the point where literally the phone won't work. Like, what if,
The book, it got into Sugar Ray's head so badly that was how he beat him. He said that to him, fuck your wife in the ass.
See,
Yeah.
look, he comes running back at him and pushes him. Watch this. Look, get the fuck away from me.
I mean,
See that shit?
in my
He's
opinion,
an animal.
Twitter,
Still screaming at
so
him. Fuck
it has,
you.
it
Screaming
has
at him.
one feature that's
After
really
a
nice.
war.
If you disconnect,
Duran
you
beat
can
him.
reconnect.
Duran was a
That's
monster.
a huge
He was so angry. Look at him.
that
Bro, even after all that fight, he was
essentially,
still
look,
angry.
Mama
Right.
La
If you
Pinga,
don't know
that's what he's saying. Mama La
you know, you
Pinga.
have to just have
Fucking
like
savage.
absolute
He was an
perfection.
intelligent
Any
savage.
kind
Like
of
a savage
relevant
technician.
space, like
You
over
know,
music
his
computer.
boxing was
And
so
that's another
beautiful.
thing.
Duran was like, he was
I'd
just
say
knew how to
use my computer,
nullify
but
you.
there
Take
isn't like
away all
a
and put
native
his will on
desktop
you,
app.
man. Animal.
All right, at least do
I gotta wrap this up, Joey. I got another podcast.
Exactly.
I
That's
love
what I was
you,
going to
brother.
say. And that's a
Thank
pain
you
in the
very
ass.
much. I won't see
Then
you
it's
this
just
week.
another thing to
When
clear
am I
out.
gonna see you again?
Tuesday, tomorrow night? No.
I'm gonna be at Sam Tripoli's thing tomorrow.
I'll
Yeah,
be there.
and I'm gonna
It's
be
me
at
and
the
you.
Improv at 10:30. Oh yeah, okay. I'll see you
It's
then.
me and you. And then I got at Tabernacle next week.
Oh shit, Atlanta. I love that
Second
place.
shot. That's why I did the special.
Oh,
with you.
shit,
That's
yeah.
why I thought Brendan Shaw was going to beat me
Yes.
up. I love you,
I
brother.
love you too,
Good to
man.
see you.
Good
Good
for
for
you,
you,
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Make the right choice tonight.
Bye, everybody.
The horror sequel, Evil Dead Rises, off to a strong start at the box office. The film
I'm
made
gonna
$1.5
agree with you,
million
yeah.
from Thursday previews at North American
Absolutely.
theaters. Expected to make between $15 and $20 million this weekend. Meanwhile, the Afghanistan war action film Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is projected.
All right, here we go. How did this get started? How did we decide to do this?
I was trying to think about that because it's something you and I started interacting on.
It was somebody on Twitter. Somebody, I don't know exactly how it started, but I saw you replied to a tweet from somebody saying, "Hey, great idea. Why doesn't Jocko and Tulsi go on the Rogan show?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, you're like, I'm in.
yeah." I said, "I'm in."
But Jocko, he'll say that to anything.
Yeah.
You want to go to the moon? I'm in. The moon's
I
good.
believe that.
Roger.
But it escalated quickly from there because I didn't know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, you're texting me with Jocko, like,
Yeah.
"So are you serious? Are we doing this or what?"
Well, it just seemed like such a good idea.
I
It's like,
agree.
whoever it was, salute
Yes.
to whoever you are out
Thank
there.
you.
that
Good
figured
job.
that out. Just seemed like a wise thing to get together. Because both of you are veterans, and both of you, I'm sure, have things you agree on and disagree on. But you're in a really unique position here, you know. And since you've been on the podcast, a lot of things have happened.
Right? He usually has
The
biggest
big one
discussions
is
on Twitter
when
usually.
you rightly called out Kamala Harris on her past and what she's done, and then it seemed like everybody's attacking.
Oh,
it.
you're the
It's
one
like
who
that
sent me
opened
the
up the
invite to the
floodgates, and then
one
there's all these
BBC,
hit pieces. And as
interview,
me as
weren't you?
an observer
that was at
watching from the outside, I was like,
2.2
wow,
million
look at the
people.
machine work. Look at the attack dogs go. Like, look at this. Like this.
Very
Oh,
transparent.
absolutely.
So if you're paying
If
attention,
you're paying attention.
the thing is, if you're on the outside and you watch it all happen, then you go, oh, I see what's going on. But if you just happen upon one of those articles, you go, oh, she's an Assad supporter. Oh, she's a terrible person. Oh, she's a this and a that. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. Like I've never met anybody like you that's run for president. Like I knew you when people didn't know you that well, and then all of a sudden people know you way more, and now you're kind of a household name. So to watch this process and to watch all the machinery sort of move in your direction,
computers that were
very
in the
interesting.
server
Yeah.
room.
What's it been like for you?
It's,
In the server
I mean, that literally is our challenge here is we are up against the most powerful overall political machine. When you look at this machine that's revved up their engines to try to define me as something that casts suspicion or doubts or whatever in people's minds, pushing information that isn't true or all of these different things. And I think there's a few reasons for it.
Well, see,
Our
here's what
challenge
that's about.
is
That is to.
we are battling the political establishment in Washington.
It's
And it's because of telling the truth. It's because of challenging
organizations want you to
the
work all the
status
time,
quo that they represent and that they've profited off for a very long time. So, my campaign, we don't take any contributions from PACs or lobbyists, fueled completely by contributions from individual people. And
exactly right. This rabbi
they are
was working at
outspending
this
us
major
by
law firm, and
many
this was like in the
multiples,
90s, and he thought it was
where we
pretty
need help
interesting that
to
they had a shower
challenge
there.
their narrative with the
And,
truth.
that
Telling me, hey,
kind
this
of
is
seems
who
like
I am.
that
This
back
is
in
why
the
I'm running
90s,
for
normally
president.
place wouldn't have
This
a
is the
shower.
experience and the
But
background that I
essentially, he
bring
realized
to
why
this
you'd have a
job.
shower there, because they're
We've
going to
got to
work
be
you
able to
so hard.
bypass that mainstream corporate media and just go directly to voters.
Exactly, and they have like childcare there.
And what is the
where it's
experience
like-
of being attacked?
And that's
feel
the
like?
future.
God, I feel like I'm used to it. So it's just like it's nothing that I've ever really taken personally, because I understand the situation.
3 on,
I
1
understand
off,
that
3 on, 3 off.
whatever the
3 on,
smears
1
are,
off, 3
however
on, 4,
radical
3
they
on, 1 off,
are,
3 on, 4.
it shows me that they feel threatened, and they are concerned about both the unifying message that I'm bringing, because we have Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents who are joining this coalition that is fueling our campaign. And it's a campaign of by and for the people, and one that's actually speaking the truth, that's calling for an end to these regime change wars, calling for, you know, a de-escalation of tensions between the United States and other nuclear armed countries, an end to this new Cold War nuclear arms race. Actually, hey, let's focus our limited taxpayer dollars on actually serving the needs of our people. That's really the message that we're bringing, and it scares the hell out of them.
What's interesting is, for me, again, as an outsider, it's a clear recognition that what they want versus what they say they want are two very different things.
Exactly.
The Democratic Party's always been like, we want a woman. Okay, I got you a woman. How about a woman that's a veteran? Check. How about a woman that's a congressman? How about that? Congresswoman, veteran, minority from Hawaii, all these positives. Trying to dig up dirt and you don't have anything. They should be behind you. They should have wind in your sails.
And the other thing they're saying is that, you know, in order for Democrat to beat Donald Trump in 2020, you're going to have to be able to take Trump voters away from him. You're going to have to win over those independents who stayed home in 2016, or even some of those Democrats who voted for Trump because they feel like our party has left them behind. Guess what? Check, 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 check. We're doing all those things. And instead of saying, hey, this is really something that maybe we should get behind, instead they're saying, oh my gosh, there's something very suspicious and weird about her because she's actually stealing voters from Trump.
That's an interesting point.
That's the big one, right?
Commercial real
Has there
estate.
ever
They
been someone in your position that's gotten caught in such a crossfire, like to be taking this much heat from the party that you're, you know, trying to represent? It seems, I don't remember this
Well,
happening.
they thought Harris had a real shot, and she sunk Harris's shit. That's exactly what happened. I mean, if you look at it, there's a direct correlation between where Harris was standing and where she's at now and that debate. It just, you put holes in her boat.
Which was,
no one lived.
I was raising some very important issues related to criminal justice reform, you know, ending the federal marijuana prohibition, and essentially pointing to leadership, because we're all asking to lead this country and bring the experience that each of us has that's very distinct and different. And her whole campaign was based on the premise of being a prosecutor for the people, being the attorney general here in California. And I said, okay, you've said you're proud of your record. This is what you have done, but you were in a position to make a positive change for the people. Instead, you chose to do otherwise, and I think that speaks louder than words.
When you had more bullets in the chamber too, because there was other things you didn't even touch. Like you didn't really touch upon her saying to single mothers she was going to prosecute them and lock them up if they didn't get their kids in school.
Laughing as she did so.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her talk about that as if it's a good idea, that this was a good solution.
You
To
have
scare single moms into with a fear of jail if their kid didn't go to school.
until April. It was just
That's
a
the
permanent
challenge
vow.
of this debate format. That's so frustrating. Is, you know, you've got 60 to 75 seconds to get your point across, to be able to talk about, hey, here's my position, here's what I would do with North Korea, here's how I would deal with immigration reform in 60 seconds
I remember
or less.
Jocko, I don't even know how you stand politically, which is hilarious because you're one of the few guys that's just not defined politically online. Because people think of you as such a savage, they leave all the politics out of it. They just go, I don't know what he's gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, leaves a puddle of sweat.
He's American. He's Team America.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like you don't have this thing with like left or right. You don't have this right or left distinction.
What's really interesting,
at least where we were,
demographics of like the people I meet when I go and speak,
and
it's everyone.
like,
It's everyone from
somebody
every
on
different spectrum.
actually in 2009.
I'm just
I
talking.
remember reading it for the first time.
My political beliefs are like, hey,
Permacloud.
I believe
And
in
it was like,
individual
oh, that's the
freedom.
perfect thing to call it.
That seems
Because
to
it's
me,
a cloud that
it's
doesn't
kind of
go
hard to
away
argue
for
against
months.
that, right?
Yeah.
I believe in
I'm sure you
individual freedom,
experienced this a
and
little
with that
bit, at
goes
least
some
in
level of
Wisconsin, right?
individual responsibility. Yep, okay. I don't think the government is a great solution to a lot of our problems, So for me, it's like, smaller government, probably a better thing. And I think probably why you get this impression from me is I actually have a balanced. I believe that the solutions are somewhere balanced. And in America right now, that doesn't really get a lot of traction because everything's broken down into such little tiny sound bites of you're pro this or you're against it, and there's no gray area. And by the way, if you believe
they weren't commercial jets, they were like private
I actually hate
Air Force jets,
and I'm going to attack you. And that's why when I started going back and forth with Tulsi, like, I kind of get a gist of what she thinks. I'm like, oh, cool. Guess what I think? She surfs. She trains martial arts. She plays ukulele. I can hang out with her. Even if our political beliefs aren't 100% aligned, which my political beliefs aren't 100% aligned with anybody. Does that mean that I hate her and I'm never going to talk to her? I'm going to call her out? No, actually, it's like, oh, cool. Oh, that's an interesting perspective. Because one thing that gets tied into all these things nowadays is our ego, right? Our ego, we paint ourselves into a corner where it's like, I believe this. And now the last thing we can do is say, oh, actually, you know what? That's a good point, Joe. You never thought of it from that perspective before. And also just thinking of what other people's perspectives are. Because, you just talked about single moms. Well, you got to take that into perspective. Because it might be easy for me to say, because I've got kids, but I got a wife, and we can make things happen. But, oh, single moms over here working 2-3 jobs. You always talk about me getting up at 4:30 in the morning. And I always say, look, there's single moms out there that are getting up at 3:30 in the morning to go work their first shift at the diner so they can get to their second shift at the grade school or wherever they're working. So they can do their third shift at some other restaurant at night. Like, okay, that's going on. I got to understand that perspective, and we all have to understand that perspective. And the last thing, when you talk about this 60-second answers, which is insane, and I've been interviewed on TV before a bunch as well, and it's actually crazy. When you compare it to a podcast, it's completely crazy that you have to figure thoughts and do one sentence, maybe 2 sentences. And the 24-hour news cycle that we're on, every news story that comes out is the end of the world, right? It's like the end of the world. Everything that happens is, hey, Trump did this or Pelosi did that. This is the end of the world. Just like if Hillary got elected, it's the end of the world. If Trump gets elected, it's the end of the world. I had early on, right after Trump got elected, I was doing a Reddit AMA. And as soon as I signed on for my Reddit AMA, up pops this question, and it's clearly the guy had spent a lot of time writing it, and it was this sort of breakdown of the Russians and Trump and all this negativity.
What's going to win out between DoorDash and Grubhub,
I basically
think it's going to be
took this whole paragraph
The
and
only
I answered
reason why
it in one
is
sentence. I said,
because people
America
like
is
Vine
stronger
more
than
than they
one
do
man.
alliteration. They like alliteration,
that's the truth.
DoorDash,
Like,
but Grubhub, just the
America
fact that
is
it's a
stronger
rhyme,
than one
I
man.
think
One man is not going to take
the
down this
highest
country.
form.
That's the way it is, right? It's hard shit to turn.
The
Look
highest
at what
form
Trump's
of
got
humor is
accomplished.
the pun.
He's
So, like, the
working as
best
hard
kind
as
of
he can to get stuff done, and he
company
can
name that
barely
you can have
move
is
the
a pun.
needle,
The
right?
second
That's the
best
way
is
it is.
basically a rhyme.
And on top of that, look at what happens with our political system. We had Carter. Oh, there's a backlash against Carter. We have Reagan. Right? Oh, these things go back and forth. We end up with Clinton, then we end up with Bush, then we end up with Obama, and then we end up with Trump. So there's a balance that happens. So when I think of my political beliefs or where I stand politically, it's like, I stand. You're not going to be able to place me very well because I'm going to listen to what different people have to say. I'm going to try and understand what their perspectives are, and then I'm going to say, not what's best for me or what satisfies my ego, but what's good for America. Well, it actually makes sense for America, and that's what I would move forward on.
Tulsi, have you thought at all about doing a podcast of your own?
I have. It's been just a function of time and capacity.
Almost like you could just have someone record some of your thoughts while you're on tour and just do it, like it doesn't have to be overproduced.
Yeah.
Just real simple, release it. But that ability to get those thoughts out there in a way where you can form full sentences, explore ideas, express your concerns, talk about it without the pressure of this buzzard. When you're in the middle of something, Congresswoman,
we got to cut the commercials, right? Yeah.
The tide is waiting.
Yeah.
Congresswoman, I'm going to sell a Toyota truck.
When you take a Moore's
so
law,
goddamn crazy. This is how we decide our leaders. And the idea that isn't it possible? Can someone step up? Can Apple or fucking Samsung or something step up and say, we are going to advertise at the beginning of this show, and then we're going to promote the whole show. So the whole show, we're going to just let it run, no commercial interruptions, let's do a few hours. Why are we doing an hour? Why is it 2 hours?
Disney World.
It should be as long as it takes to get. I mean, did Lincoln do speeches that were hours long? You know, yelling, right? No microphone.
Yeah,
it's so strange that we have decided that this commercial-oriented, meaning it has to be sandwiched in between commercials. That this is the way we are going to let our potential future leaders discuss the most important thing on earth, and it's going to be interrupted by what? Gum? Like what he's selling in between. It's so dumb.
And people are getting really turned off by it because
they have alternatives.
But there are no
they have
rides,
alternatives, and they're not getting anything of value from the conversation that's happening on these debates that are really like political reality TV. They are completely set up for conflict and confrontation to drive up ratings so that they can make more money. The corporate media can make more money. The first debate had something like 22 million viewers. The one that we just did, I think, had 6.6 million viewers. And I meet people almost every single day. They're like, "Man, I don't got time for that. I don't get anything from it anyway." And you know, rather than it being this money-driven, ratings-driven venture, which you know the media is doing across the board, both these debates and kind of what issues they're choosing to cover.
I remember saying
go back to like the League of Women Voters.
Like,
you know, who used to actually host presidential forums that would have real questions about real issues that people care about, in a way that's not broken up by commercial breaks and advertisements so that people can make money.
Yeah, and this is not hard to do. YouTube is available for virtually anyone who wants to set up an account. This all can be done, and it can be done very easily. What we're showing is the fragility, this antiquity, this ancient system that doesn't make any sense. We're seeing it evaporate before our eyes. And with a guy like Trump, and then people are using these debates knowing that they're going to get these sound bites and knowing that, and you can see some of them work, like yours with Kamala Harris, and some of them don't, like when she was attacking Elizabeth Warren for not wanting Trump to get kicked off of Twitter. Do you read his Twitter? It's fantastic. Keep him on. It's the best way we understand who he really is. I mean, you can get some of that out of speeches, but when he posts a picture of Greenland with a giant Trump tower in it, and says, "I promise not to do this," listen, if you're on Team America, you want that guy to keep tweeting.
And I want to tell you, the virtual reality
hilarious too.
You can buy that Aladdin's magic carpet.
Hey, no one.
It was like
there's no comedians that have that skill that Trump has of cracking jokes, making fun of people, letting the other joke roll off his back because he doesn't care what people say about him, basically. And no
you
one's
were on
really
like a carpet that was moving
until now.
And there was like wind,
It's really
and you were
interesting.
wearing like
No one knows how to handle
fully
it.
immersed.
It's really fun. I mean,
And
when you
they
watch
had
the
this-
original Republican debates, when he was running for president, and he starts attacking, he's going after
but they
me.
had this
He's
one
ruining my thing.
guy, or
It's
it
just,
wasn't a guy.
it's
It
it's
was
a
create
nutty
your own
place
ride.
to watch.
So what does that mean?
Do you get to
You
hang out
would,
with Kamala Harris
you would-
backstage?
They give you like 20
No,
minutes.
I mean there's
And you could build
everybody.
a
No, there's like
roller coaster,
just like a little
like using
holding
like
area
roller
kind
coaster
of
tycoon
space,
or like
a
one of
lot
those kind of
smaller than
games.
this room.
So you could put
Oh, you're all hanging out
exactly
there
put as
together.
many loops in it as you
during the
want,
commercial
and then
breaks.
you
Yeah,
could
but you say
you
anything
could
to
download it
contact with her?
into
No.
this machine
Maybe every
and then
now
get
and then,
into the machine
I,
and actually
I
write it out
honestly, like,
for whatever you created, and it would take you in
I'm
360
probably
degrees,
not
and
at
it's
the
like
top
you
of
go
her
upside
friend
down
list.
because you were all like
Yeah, you sang
and
a battleship.
and
I mean,
it would do
Hillary
corkscrews,
Clinton.
it would do
Yeah,
loop to
those are-
loop, and
What's up with
I've
that?
never seen that technology since. Disney closed that project
She's the
down. I think,
matriarch
probably
of
50
the
years ago.
Clinton family,
we've
and
never
there
seen
she
it
is,
since, but
the
it was the
hero
first time I
to
ever.
many
It
people
was
of
the
the Democratic
most
Party.
fun. Okay, so the
And
whole place was one large
you are
arcade, and all the games were free. So
Did that start when you?
yeah,
Did that
so
start,
like you didn't need
you
like
supported
back in the
Bernie
day,
in
you know,
2016? Is that where it
and
started?
like you go to your mom and
that
dad
was something. Yeah,
or,
back in,
you know,
in
like
2016, I was the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee.
exact tokens.
Therefore, as an officer of the DNC,
Same
had
thing,
to remain
but
neutral
you didn't have
in
any
the
of
presidential
that.
election, which was my
It
plan
was
to do
all
so.
inclusive. So you go there.
I really made
and
the
it had
decision to
and it wasn't
resign
like
from
it
that
was every
seat
video
so that I
game that
could
was
endorse
available
Bernie
in the
Sanders,
machine
largely
was in
because,
this one
largely
giant
because of
building.
his
It was,
reductionist,
amazing.
in my
And I'm
opinion,
surprised that
kind
didn't
of the
continue.
war hawk
It was
regime change war policy that she had shown throughout her time, both in the administration as well as a U.S. senator. And Bernie Sanders, lean the other way. He's more of a non-interventionist. And I saw that in those debates at that time, the conversations that were in the media was not bringing up this difference between the two of them, so the voters could make an informed choice of who they want their commander-in-chief to be, which to me, just as, as a soldier, as a veteran, as an American, I'm like, how can you not be putting this issue at the forefront? So
Google
I resigned from
Cardboard
that
is
position,
very cool.
endorsed Bernie
And I'm
Sanders,
surprised that it did
started
not
going
get
out
better.
and just
It's more
talking
people
about
than-
raising these
I mean,
issues on
honestly,
the campaign trail. But I remember one of the
look,
first interviews that I did on
I think that
MSNBC,
Mark Zuckerberg
the
sucks at
host of the
launching
show
products.
saying, aren't you afraid of what the Clintons will do
Like,
to you?
he's got this
Said
Google
this on
portal,
live television.
which or Google portal, Facebook portal. I have one. I use it every single day. I hate it. Why do I
my
watch it
answer
every
was
single
no,
day?
obviously,
I
but
just
it
keep
was
watching the
amazing.
same
It was
playlist on it that goes on in the
interesting
background,
to
so
see
that
the
it
reaction,
doesn't,
like the
so I
days
don't get
after when I
copyright
first
claims.
went back to
But
DC
what is
after
a
I made
Google?
that announcement
What is
of
a Facebook
endorsement.
portal?
And
It was
friends of mine,
essentially like a
politicians
tablet
in Washington,
that you
they
could
were
use
like,
to call your
man,
grandkids,
Tulsi,
so to
like,
speak.
go with God, sister.
It's a different animal. So like if you get into some sort of verbal
Yeah,
altercation with
exactly.
Joe Biden, there's no concern for your life. Like, I'm not saying it's real or not, but the rumor is always, there's a thing called
Joe Biden
body count.
And they cancel
Joe
the
I
content.
don't know
Biden's
if
like
that's
Uncle
real.
Joe.
I don't
It's
think
like,
it is real.
that's the
There's probably
perfect
some of it.
fucking thing that
Most of
people
it,
need
let's
to
say it's all
for
made
their
up.
grandkids.
The
Why-
fact that that's out there, that the thought is out there, that they will whack you.
Well, there's, I mean, the people who are saying, hey, look, there are lists that are kept, and your political career will be over. That was really the message that I got from people who've been around the block a few times. I think the most recent thing that came up with what Hillary Clinton said about me is not, it's not a spat between two people. It really just shows the complete difference and the conflict in our foreign policy views of the what I call the Bush-Clinton doctrine of interventionism, regime change wars, and warmongering versus what I'm putting forward, which is let's stop the regime change war, world's police policies, work to end this new Cold War and arms race, put the interests of the American people first, always ensuring that we have a strong and capable, ready military to defend our nation and our people, and honoring that service and sacrifice that our troops give by only sending them on missions worthy of their sacrifice, maximizing diplomacy, engagement with other countries in the world through cooperation rather than conflict, and always seeing war as a last resort. So that conflict that you're seeing in the media that's been playing out, and again, why you're seeing so much of the corporate media and the political machine attacking me is difference, is because of this change in foreign policy that I'm bringing about. Because when it comes right down to it, whether you're going back to the Cold War, back to Vietnam War, back to the Iraq War overthrowing Saddam Hussein, Libya, Gaddafi, the media has always kind of been this cheerleading voice for these wars to happen, sending a very clear narrative out to the
I just thought
American
that it was
people.
really interesting that Disney would,
It comes
well,
down
at
to
least
good business.
put out such an
Good ratings,
interesting
make some money.
I
place
want to talk to
and
you about
not
that,
have
but I
it.
want
At
to talk
least
to you
with
about what she
Facebook,
said to
they
you
don't
more
use
about
this
you.
thing.
Yeah.
That
And
she
it's
said
like
you
that's
were a
all anybody
Russian
wanted was an
asset.
easy way to
That was-
communicate with their friends
That
and
was
family.
the insinuation, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the base of that? And how does someone who was, that's what's weird, right? How does someone who was running for president
I'm in agreement with you.
and
Absolutely.
is one of the most prominent politicians in our country, how do they get away with saying something that's such a huge accusation with no information to back it up?
I know.
It would be a good question for
And
a
it's
normal person,
essentially,
but when you
like,
look
in my
at
opinion,
the power
you,
of the Clinton machine,
you,
when you look at the power of the political
Just a moment.
establishment, which is made up of people who are either,
I don't want to get things too
part
political.
of the
So shout out to
Clinton
Tulsi
so-called
Gabbard and
family,
Jocko Willemick.
or
No
who
offense
are
to
part
them.
of this political
We are
establishment.
going to go back to some Joey Diaz because he doesn't get very political at all. He just sticks to the good stuff in life, like drugs, sex, alcohol, that kind of stuff. So just one moment. This is Joe Rogan, episode 1000. This is a classic
We're
one.
delayed in starting, ladies and gentlemen. We did not have it later.
That was a real panic set in.
That's
there.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I thought at the same time.
Yeah, but thank God I am petrified of
Do you-
earthquakes and situations. I don't put
No,
foot in it.
the only reason why I say that is then once we're done,
Generated, dog.
well,
you store
I gotta
water?
ask you,
Water
when you do 12 hours,
Yeah.
have you ever done a 12-hour Twitter space?
I'm an AR-15.
Have you been out here for an earthquake?
One of them that didn't scare me.
Yeah.
But I was just sitting by the computer and I was looking at the cat balls.
Yeah.
Well, I did it for 3 hours tonight as well. It's just, yeah. Well,
I saw the cat balls up in the air spinning, and the cats running for their
we
lives.
just had so many people
They were
last night,
weird
and I kept it going into the morning.
and that's why I go,
You know,
why are they
it
so
was
fucked up?
ridiculous.
Oh, they were acting
But
weird
so,
before.
like, honestly, I would have. I don't have issues with that, but my phone, I know it sounds funny, but I got another phone that I'm using right now, and I'm kind of testing it. It is working better. It's amazing. Okay, Android devices, at least this one Android I have versus this iPhone I have, it's way better. And how it's handling things. It's a Motorola. No, it's a Motorola. They do, and you know what?
It's scary as
People
shit
don't
when you
realize, like,
panic about
all
what
that
earthquakes are
fucking
like if you
police
before you move
technology,
here.
like
Yeah,
their
like I
radios
remember
and
the
shit.
first week I was here.
Well,
I was
no,
in
the
an
radios,
apartment
like,
in Sherman
like I'm
Oaks,
talking.
and I was standing at the kitchen
Yeah,
counter.
those things work
This person's
work
apartment on their
extremely well.
laptop doing
And
sending
you can
email.
fucking throw
And I
them.
felt a little.
Okay, I can.
And I go in my head. I go, oh, that's the subway.
So I used to
And I kept typing.
exactly.
And then he goes, did you feel that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's crazy.
I have
like, there's the earth shaking underneath your feet.
I have a hilarious story.
It's
I
like a
was
panic
I
sets
had
in.
said I was working
Oh my
nights
god!
in
Like,
the West,
I've
and
actually experienced.
I lost my
the earth
radio.
moving now. And then the next step is like when you are,
filled with
you know,
snow.
you're like if you're asleep
And,
and then you hear like you feel the
a cow
dresser,
went
you
by
hear the dresser,
and
you know,
put
or
this
something
radio
that's hanging
in
on
a
the wall.
snow
And then you're like, what's going on?
drift,
It takes you that
so
extra
that
beat to
snow.
figure
Thank
out.
you. Yeah, so I couldn't.
That extra
Like,
beat
there's
is
no way I
fucked.
could
It's
find
only
it.
if you.
Exactly. The snow
Nothing
melted
big,
in the
but
spring,
like fives,
and when you know what,
5.5,
that fucking
couple of those.
now the
The first
battery
one I
died
was
because
in
I
was an
tried to put the
aftershock
fucking
of the Northridge
actual
earthquake. I
device
was
still
staying in
working.
North
And it
Hollywood.
became
And
my
I was in this shitty
radio
apartment.
again.
It was made out of like fucking the same boxes that they used like to ship refrigerators in. Like literally, the walls when the earthquake hit, the walls just went like this. I mean, like the whole thing was just like a giant was pushing on the house.
Scary as fuck, right?
Yeah, well, it's humbling.
Yeah.
Because you realize like this is nothing. This isn't chewing up the street. This isn't knocking over any houses. Imagine what it felt like when that big one hit and it hit for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
30 seconds is so
I've got one
long
Motorola
to feel the
that's
ground moving. That's why I was
solid.
moving older.
And it was
That's
like
why I
a
was
free
just going
phone.
to say that.
You know, I mean, that's an
When you
amazing
have that
thing.
experience,
If you go and buy
some
like a
people
plan
that
somewhere, they'll give you a free
for a
phone.
few days
And sometimes
after
those free phones are very, very good. You'll watch.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these flip phones that have the fold in them?
I work on Wilshire, I have a big building. What if?
Yeah.
What if I was like 1,000 oaks? Yeah. So a lot of people, just a bad, that's what everybody's waiting for. An earthquake hit, because then people leaving, they sell their houses for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we're
It
out.
does happen.
We're out. We're gone. They don't ever want to experience it again. But then I see a guy like my uncle who's lived here since 55. And I've asked him, were you ever scared?
I do not. I've seen them, and I think that the
Dude, when I
technology is
first
really
moved here,
interesting.
before I first moved here,
And
I was out here for
looking
meetings.
forward to
And
when
I went by
iPhone
a
is
section
foldable,
of the highway,
or
I think it was the 10,
clamshell. I
that
mean,
it
honestly,
collapsed.
people like being
And
able
they were
to
moving
like close their
cars
phone.
around it.
Like
Yeah.
And as we're, is this what
the
happened?
Razor. Of
What
course.
is this, an apartment building
That
that
one.
collapsed?
That's Northridge.
Oh, this is the Northridge one? Yeah, dude, that was a fucking serious earthquake, man.
Yeah.
Like fucking serious. And when I was driving by this one section of the highway, it collapsed on the lower section. And I remember thinking, that's just shit luck. Like this right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you could be there and that is just shit luck.
It is really.
Blam, that thing lands on you and that's how you go.
I'm sorry. I am a hard-working individual. I really try to do anything I could to help myself. When people call me,
Oh,
tell me
yeah.
they want me to go to a meeting,
Wait, did you say with glasses?
I have to wait 3 unless I'm picking up an envelope. I tell them, when that kid won the Oscars for Modern Family,
Yes, I have seen that.
I was always the guy that
That
went
film.
to Ocean Avenue 5 for those auditions.
Yeah.
You deserve
Right.
an Oscar because when you switch
You know,
from
I
the
used
10 to the
I used to use one
405,
of those.
you gotta wait on that ramp.
So, like,
That
not
is
exactly.
such
You've
a
seen those things
privilege
at
right there.
hospitals
You're fucking
for like
high, and you're in the
privacy,
middle of
so you
that ramp.
can't see from a
Your
certain
mind
angle.
starts playing. I'm telling you.
I used to use
Stuck
that
on
on
that
my
ramp,
phone.
and I've gone.
I really feel like that should be.
Oh man.
I want to go through this
Exactly.
ramp.
So,
I don't ever want to be in the middle of that ramp. That's not good. Not good. Your mind starts playing with you. You remember that those images.
I used to use one of those.
Okay, let's plan this right now. The shit hits the fan. This thing shakes in the ground. Where are we going?
Why? Because
one of the main reasons why I like being in LA is because I like you guys.
So sometimes
we're gonna all go. I like for real, like 100%. Like that.
And so
was the
and
thing
I
that
would
bothered
do
me
it
the most about Colorado.
many times. I'd go with friends too.
There was a lot of nice people out there,
sometimes.
but I didn't know you guys weren't out there. Well, I see you when we work together. But there's something fun about running into you guys all the time. It makes life better. We do sets at the store, the factory, and wherever we're at. It's more fun. It makes life more fun. Each of this podcast.
100%. I would do a group move to Colorado.
Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What I do,
that's what we do. The group move to Colorado's the right way.
Not as long as people are really interested in what you're doing. I just found that, and they would spy on you.
Yeah,
exactly. So I started using that there, and I'm surprised that a phone doesn't have that as a feature. There's like a setting you can press, and it makes it so blurry on the side.
Oh yeah.
These are just features that phones should have.
Yeah.
With that earthquake.
Yeah. The ones that take down highways. If you feel that, you're like, oh my god. I mean, this is not even a really big one. Really big ones change the shape of continents.
True.
I mean, that's the real fear. The real fear is there's a giant one, like a 10 or an 11.
Part of you, by the way, always feels kind of crazy. Like when I was growing up in Florida with hurricanes, that like after a hurricane, you're like, are we staying?
Why are you staying on the phone?
Well, yeah,
Florida's mentality. And I think it's because I keep getting these fucking
but there's something about a hurricane that, like, for whatever reason, I feel like if you're just in the basement, the top blows off the thing and you just fucking strap yourself in like a wild ride at Disneyland.
You think that's the first fucking time anybody in the entire world has ever thought about changing the color or
People
something?
still are like, fuck it.
Yeah,
like,
oh, for sure.
I had my friend's mom. His mom is like 70-something years old, and this big one was coming. They're like, this time we're not fucking around. This is a category 5.
And
this is going to
that isn't an advancement of the
devastate
phone.
this area. Too.
That's
like,
literally
I've been here 40-some years.
That's literally something that children will come up with, that kind of achievement.
No.
What we're talking about, where we have infrared camera, EMF
because
detectors.
they'll say it's
And
going to be this
I
bad,
think you talked about this a little bit. I
turn
found
or
it as
land
well.
different.
There are EMF
It turned into
detectors
like
for
a tropical
like their
storm.
apps. But why your phone doesn't have that natively, I don't understand.
Like everybody else, we would always bail. I don't know if you were ever there for hurricane, but like we would always book it, man. As soon as they were like, this thing is gonna land, we're like, no, there's no way. And even driving in those tropical storms was unreal, man. Like you can't see an inch in front of the car. It's like you're driving through a car wash.
We had to stop once. Were you with me when Eddie did that seminar in Miami when we were working at West Palm? Did you go down with us?
No.
Eddie was doing a seminar in West Palm, or in Miami. We were in West Palm, it's like a half-hour away. So we left to go to the seminar, and we were stopped dead on the highway. You could not see an inch in front of the windshield.
It's amazing.
It was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It lasted for about 15 minutes, but it was just dude, they had a sky opened up.
All the time there. All the time.
We don't even know what rain is.
No.
We don't even know. And I never knew growing up, like in Boston growing up. Growing up in Boston, I never saw that.
Yeah.
We saw it rain. We never saw that. Like that's some next level.
I haven't really seen it duplicated since leaving.
I saw
It's pretty crazy.
As a child, I saw one bad rainstorm in Jersey. When the clouds got dark.
What I think is the future of the phone,
started hailing.
for now,
Have you
the next step is to
Yeah,
find
Ronald,
that actually, well, I should say before that, there's
people's
infinite
cars are
scrolling.
just getting destroyed.
So basically, it's
one
like
day I had
people
a
in the
film of
future
a
will think
lake.
it's so
They were
funny.
watching
When
it,
you
it
look at a
slowly
fucking phone
ramps
now,
up. It's
and
like
like if you look at like an
1, 2,
iPhone,
it's
I
like,
think
whoa,
it's
look at the size of this hill.
iPhone 10,
And then all
there's
of a
that
sudden,
little bar across the top that has
it's
the
literally like a
camera in it.
attacked
Yeah, but the, like, what
rocks
the
from
fuck is
space.
that?
Like, here,
So
watch
the
this,
first
see
thing
this.
is to remove
This
that. So
fucking
basically,
guy's
putting a
cool.
camera
Yeah,
behind
there's
the
a gang
screen
of these
is
men.
very important.
But like, look at this
So
one.
that's the first
That's rocks. That's rocks.
all that behind the screen.
This is insane. Oh, destroys.
That's
Destroys
what
Colin.
it's
Look
called.
at this.
So,
Water, dude.
and then from there, you really get that foldable technology down really well, so that any phone
Yeah,
can
look
come
at it. It's
back.
getting worse. This is
Basically, that's what
insane.
people want.
Dude, you get KO'd. Okay, especially if you're like a little kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
Imagine
those
being
are
a
really cool.
5-year-old
Where they're
out there, so you
seamless.
get fucking pummeled to death.
Yeah,
Has anybody ever died from hail?
phenomenal technology.
Fantastic.
Seems like it.
The first week I
Shit,
moved to
that's
LA,
insane.
the first week I moved to LA on a Monday, and that Friday was the North Hollywood shootout. Oh,
Really?
I'm like,
That was
oh,
that was that week.
That Monday I came in, I was living with Stanhope.
Yeah.
I went to find a job that Friday.
I know.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of drafts, and they were like, nah, this is not Hollywood shootout.
That shootout changed
Exactly.
policing nationwide.
And
You know, that incident changed the way they viewed having weapons, changed their training.
And the fact that you can now
never
have
even
projectors, like laser projectors
contemplated
that are
that
so,
people would rob a bank with like
they have such
fully
a high
automatic
You
machine
remember the
guns.
scene of the guy coming out
whatever.
with the body armor just fucking
And
black.
that dude was laying by a car after he was
Exactly.
hit,
So that you
shooting
can
up
actually,
helicopters and shit. That was a fucking
and it
crazy.
doesn't have to be a
I remember that national
perfectly dark
news. That
room.
was just like
Before, in
big
order to
fucking
show any of that shit,
Yeah,
in
I
order to
was
show
in
any of
a
that shit,
news
you had to
radio
be
break
in
room.
like a
We were getting
like
ready
a
to
movie
film a
theater,
scene,
basically.
and we were watching. Me and Candy Alexander huddled up